start streaming. We are now sending a stream of ones and zeros up to the cloud, and says we have one viewer waiting. I'm guessing that's probably you.
Oh yeah,
because no notification has gone out yet. And I'm just waiting for the live feed. It looks like it's updating, and we are live. Oh, there we are. I see us. I see us. I think it's working. I think it's working. All right, so hold on. Let me pull up. Okay, so I got the viewer activity feed. Going through my little mental checklist here that I never write down, but I probably should at one of these times. Right? Yeah, we do the same thing every stream. It's like new every time. Hey, it keeps it interesting. It's always new, man. It's always new. Okay, why is Windows key left not working? Oh, there we go. Now it is. I'm finding all kinds of like weird bugs in the latest Windows 20 H1 or H2. I haven't tried 21 H2 yet. I'm hoping that they fixed a bunch of the crap because man, 20 H1 is turning out to be something I don't really enjoy very much. So here, all right, let me send out the stream to everybody so they know we're doing this. Let's see. Okay? So did you see the link that I dropped over in the Skypes?
Yeah, to the YouTube.
Yep, Tech Talk is live. Right, and we should probably wow, it actually resolved the topics properly. Oh my god, it never does that. It always goes back, and you ever notice that like when you share a link to like Twitch or YouTube, it'll always take like the text from the previous stream you did and put it almost like it caches it or something, and it doesn't look for the new one and update it. It's very bizarre. It's very bizarre. Really pin that. Well, everybody's showing up here for the stream. I'm just doing the rounds, making sure everybody knows that we're here so we don't get flooded on social media going, when are you guys going live? We've been live for like an hour and a half because it's like so hard to find stuff for some reason. All right, here we go. Let's see, live. I got to go hit up the old Discord. And for those of you wondering why David isn't here, he had a baby shower creep up on him from his little sister. So he's got to go do that first, but he's going to try to weasel out of it as quickly as possible to get back to us. If he can, we'll see. It depends. Like his sister might corner him and guilt trip the hell out of him, and in which case I totally understand how that's impossible to get away from. But he may join us further into the stream. Where else was it going? Oh yeah, Discord. Got to tell the Discord peeps what's going on. Discord GG/Barnacules. It's loading. Loading. All right. Think I'd have all this stuff open beforehand, but nope. That's not how we roll here at Barnacules Nerdgasm Hyper and Global Link.
Do it live.
This is before a live studio audience. Remember back when TV used to do that? They'd always say like right before the show, it'd be like, Cheers is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah.
Even though it was like all edited and everything before it was like sent out to anybody.
Filmed in front of a live studio.
That's true. They do say filmed, so I guess that is kind of the cliche.
It's not broadcast live, like.
But that means
I don't even think Saturday Night Live is broadcast live anymore.
They also add in laugh tracks and stuff and clapping now. That's like a big thing. Like you know, they just pre-record a bunch of studio stuff doing that and add it for like ambiance, because a lot of, especially during like COVID when they were shooting some of the shows and stuff, the audience was like completely empty. Right. And I think it was like, what was it like last week? No, it wasn't last week tonight. What was I watching? I was watching one of the night shows, and they pan the camera over to the audience, and there's like 3 or 4 producers in the audience, and the rest of the seats are empty. But every time he tells a joke, it's like, woo, yeah, oh my god. He was trying to point out that it's audio added in by the audio engineer, and I thought that was pretty funny. Oh my gosh. We broke the grand illusion. Sutton says SNL's not live. It's not live. No.
It's filmed live.
Oh, Tobias said I look very contrasty today.
Yeah, I was thinking about that once I saw the YouTube thing. Like the background is very deep in the shadows in a sense. Like the contrast is off, I guess.
Don't you think that makes me look hot as shit though?
You're popping out from the background quite well. So that's good.
I'm just popping bottles, you know, sipping scissor, getting slithered. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like a G6.
Like a G6, man. Not a G7. Couldn't afford that. Had to be the G6. Oh my gosh, guys. Welcome to Saturday and what we like to call Tech Talk. We'd like to thank our sponsor, which is your mom, because she had you, so you could be here and watch the show. Oh, see what I did there? Yeah. Also, isn't Father's Day coming up eventually? Like, when's Father's Day?
20th, I think.
Oh man, I gotta wait that long.
Yeah, it's like the
Jeez.
third. I think it's like the third Sunday or something like that.
That's one of the holidays where it's like, I can whine and get what I want, and those are great holidays. It's like birthday, Father's Day. I think that's it. I think those are the two holidays where I can just whine and beg and get what I want. I love it. I'm excited. Hey, what's up, Miss Liz? How's it going? Let's see here. Kevin said, "Hey Jerry, is your camera working better?" Well, that's entirely subjective enough to you. Is it working better? No, we already did have one crash of the camera earlier, but I think it might be a loose cable on the back of the camera because it happened when I was physically messing with the camera, didn't it? Like when I cut out?
Yeah. Like well, I feel like maybe because there was a bit of a delay, but just prior to the stream starting, like you just stood up and then it froze.
Yeah, so I bet you it was I touched the camera and the cable in the back of it was like kink. Because it's got one of those micro USBs, the ones that are just always loose and always broken.
Really? Is it the micro, the tiny ones like the old cell phones?
Yeah, exactly. Like the little crappy ones that if you bump them on the edge of a table, they turn like a full 90 and rip out and stick in your device.
I fear for the micro HDMI that is sticking out of the side of my camera. It's like
you should probably put a strain relief on it, like legit. Because I've broken, let's see. So I've already broken 3 devices and 2 of them were cameras that I broke the HDMI out on because the camera literally fell like 6 inches on the desk on one of those little desk tripods. Fell like 6 inches, hit the cable and managed to break the inside connector off. Yeah, so just be careful. Be careful with that stuff, man. Let's see what do we got going over in the chat here. Art March Animations said, "Is your camera running? You better go catch it." Oh my god, banned for life. What's up, MD Hofsty? Said you have to wait that long for your wife to tell she won the Powerball. Wait, you have to wait that long for your wife to tell she won the Powerball.
Related to the
the got it. The Father's Day wish. It'd be funny. She just doesn't tell me. She's like, I won the lottery like 3 years ago. Like I don't know. Did I mention that? like we can't pay any of the bills or whatever, and we're like literally just knocking on death's door or whatever. Did I mention we won that $100 million Powerball? It's like would that help? Could we use that money?
And just sprinkling it in there over.
Like, what would you do though? Like here, that's actually a good thing to kind of talk about. We're waiting for people to get in here. What would you do, Mr. AuxxZillary? What would you do if suddenly you found out that you were like not just a millionaire, but like you had like $100 million plus? Like, I don't care. It's like given to you by a family member. You won the lottery. Honestly, you found it in your backyard. Like, what would you do?
I've thought about this actually before. If I ever came into a rather large windfall like that, my first phone call would be to Adam.
Pay it forward a little bit, or ask him what to do with it.
Ask him what to do with it.
Well, so I'd have to pay him first because I owe him like $1 billion, even though he wouldn't take it. I'd still try to like stuff it under his door or something like that.
That'd be my first phone call. But then I know for sure it would be pay off my student loans like immediately.
So wait a second, you're saying your first phone call? This is how much of an entrepreneur you are. You just said your first phone call when you find out you're worth $100 million, which is arguably more money than like any one person could spend. That's like Brewster's Millions money, unless you're just doing stupid shit like trying to fly to Mars.
Right.
You just won $100 million, and your very first call is to somebody to make it into $200 million.
No, my whole motivation there is so that I don't lose it at all. Like I don't know.
That's
I'm not even motivated to make more. I'm motivated to not lose it.
Got it. So you're like, get the $100 million, find tax shelters. Like,
I know for sure. Like, I'm sure at least he would be like, dude, pay off all your debt, like get to 0, and then we'll talk. And
yeah, it'd make no sense to carry any debt, honestly, with that kind of money.
Pay off the house, pay off the student loans. I think I still have like another couple years on my car. I think that's it. Actually, we don't really carry a lot of debt right now.
I think for me, it's just I want to say I owe like 80,000 on my house, and I owe maybe like 15 on my wife's car, and that's it. Yeah, I don't like being in debt, dude. Oh, it drives me nuts.
Savage Scientist in the chat says, according to women logic, it's okay for a chick to keep away her lottery winnings. Now for us guys, well, you already know. Not entirely true. There was actually, I just bumped into this like a week ago. There was a news story about a guy and his wife. They were going through divorce proceedings, and like shortly before the divorce was like official, She did. She won a rather significant lottery winnings, and hid it from her husband. Hid it from the court. Didn't include it amongst like the assets and stuff that they were negotiating over. A couple months or maybe a couple years after the divorce, he finds out that she had hidden the winnings from him. Took her to court, and the judge gave him the whole thing for her being like skeezy about it.
Oh man. Yeah. Oh, I bet you that boiled her blood.
Yeah, I imagine so.
It's funny. He gets like $100 million, and they're like, you have to pay child support, but it's only like $1,000 a month or something. He's like, lols, you got your child support though,
right? It was kind of funny. So
yeah, I have an idea. And just don't get divorced. Just live together forever and ever and ever, no matter what. See, problem solved.
And even then, like, say it was my lady, I have full confidence in her to maintain like the books, right? I know enough, like she's, but otherwise I'm totally cool with her handling a lot of that stuff. And because of her, we've got a good chunk in savings where we're able to do vacations now and then, and live a pretty good life.
So. You got some money management going on. That's good.
She's super good with the numbers. That's what like jazzes her up, is like doing finances. She fucking loves that stuff. She loves doing like payroll. Well, the payroll thing maybe a little, but she loves the bookkeeping. She super gets jazzed about like business numbers and stuff, money stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, no, Miss Barnacules, she handles most of the financial stuff just to take the stress off of me, so that I can focus on doing, critically important things like begging you guys for money on the internet, so that she has something to balance.
Yeah, right before we really got like mixed. Everything was on auto. I automatically paid all my bills. It just happened. And then like I knew that whatever money was left after a certain day, that was like spendable, or that was like outside of the bills. Because I'm forgetful. I would miss due dates and stuff all the time.
You know what I hate is how our tax code is so complicated that there's no way to know how much expendable income you have at any given time.
Oh yeah.
It's like impossible. You can't. It's like this dynamic thing that is constantly moving, and you miss like 90,000 things every year. Yeah. And sometimes they're good. Sometimes you find out things and you get more money back, right? But it's like you never know. Like, it'd be nice if there was a system where it was like just laid out that here's exactly the dollar amount for whatever. Like it was just told to you by the government, because they know the number. They just want to see if you lie, right? That's the whole reason you do taxes. The whole reason you waste your time to do tax. They already have all the numbers. They already have everything they know to know what your tax bills is. It's just because they want to see if there's anything they missed.
Yeah.
You're basically just narking on yourself.
Yeah, right. Like the cash money I make for mowing lawns or whatever.
Exactly. They're hoping that you'll rat yourself out for things that they didn't have access to or didn't come back to them. But it'd be nice if they just told you like what's your tax bills and you just paid it, because then you could go ahead and subtract that from your income and be like, this is exactly to the dollar how much money I have. But you never know that. Even if you have a steady job and a salaried position, you'll never know exactly how much money you have, because of the tax withholding is estimated. Mm-hmm. They're never withholding exactly the taxes you owed. It's always less or more. It's never exactly the number, because it's a moving target, depending on how you spend your money throughout the year. And did you get a house? Did you not get a house? Did you lease a car? How much licensing stuff did you pay for things? It's like this moving target. So it's like at the end of the year, it's like you could either, get $10,000 back or owe $10,000 or more, right? So it's very confusing. That's the one thing I wish, is that our tax code was simple enough that I could sit down and just go, that number right there is exactly, because bills aren't like that. Well, unless it's your cell bill. Your cell bill is the only one. It's like mystery payments everywhere. But every other bill that you have, it's like, exactly to the dollar how much you have to pay them for that good or service. Like, and then they have to go pay taxes and do the whole same crap that you went through. But it's like, exactly how much it is. So you can sit at the end of the month and say, for my house, for my bills, for my food, for my fuel, for everything I need to survive and live comfortably, this is exactly the dollar amount, like to the penny, that I need to make that happen. Yeah. But unfortunately, you can't tell that for like the revenue that's coming in. So you can't do it for percentages. You can only do it for absolutes. Like, I want to be able to say exactly 33% of everything I made is for like this, and then this little like 15% is expendable. That would be cool to be able to do that. But it's not, because you could go through the year, buy some stuff thinking you had expendable income, and then the tax man comes back and goes, oh, well, the tax code changed this year and your deduction dropped for this and your kid turned 18 and you don't get that and you can't claim your wife because of some new rule or law or whatever. Oh, you got to pay back the stimulus or it'll be, they'll mess with the law, and then you're like, wow, I owe him $10,000 that I didn't know. And then that just sneaks up on you. Yeah. You know, it's like, oh, and then it's always like a year delayed because you're always like paying the taxes for the previous year. So, oh God, our tax system's annoying. I'm curious, is it like that in every country though? Are there any countries that just don't fuck with you?
I would imagine the Europeans have a better idea because even our sales tax thing is super weird, right?
It is. It changes literally like county to county.
Well, there's that, but also like the price on the shelf, right, is without the sales tax on it. So like, what? But then like some places you go will include the sales tax, like a coffee shop or something usually, or like your coffee stand usually will have the sales tax included on the board. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, sometimes I've been.
I know Starbucks doesn't do it.
Yeah, that's true. I've been to a few that they say like tax included, so it's like.
It's kind of dangerous for them to do that if you think about it, though, because they could just like change the sales tax one day and like retroactively throughout the year or something, based on your income, and you miss it, not put it on the board, and now everybody's paying less for your product and your margin shrunk.
Right.
So it's like it's a little bit ballsy, but I'd like that. I would like to just know how much things are in total without taxes. I would like to know exactly how much the government wants from me, like based on how much I make.
The Ticketmaster. There's a good fucking example. There's a $140 ticket. Plus taxes and fees, and it's like $80 for a convenience fee. And I'm like, that's not fucking convenient.
That was not convenient.
That's rather inconvenient, in fact. Like,
oh, dude, convenience fees that are ass. Like, I'm just looking at you. I'm gonna guess that you're a common criminal, just like me, and have been in the court for speeding tickets and shit like that every once in a while. So this is the most bullshit thing ever. Last time I went in for a speeding ticket, I went to court and I lost.
Yeah,
I lost. And they're like, you got to go pay. And they're like, you can pay outside, like you can pay outside or you can pay online. Well, I was already at the courthouse. I'm literally already at the courthouse. So I walk up to the little window and I wait in line because there's, 2 people ahead of me, and I successfully don't get stabbed. And the lady's like, hey, and I want to pay my ticket. And I handed her the little paperwork thing that they gave me in the courtroom. Yep. And they're like, okay, that'll be, $275 or whatever, plus a $25 convenience fee. Shit you not. I'm like, no, I'm shit you not. And I was like, what? $25 convenience fee? She's like, yeah, that's the fee that we charge for using our service to pay for it here. And she goes, if you want, you can go online and the convenience fee is only $5. So I literally left the window, went out to my car, pulled out my cell phone, went on the website, used the same credit card that I was going to use to pay her at the window, had to type a bunch more shit in, hit submit and pay the $5 convenience fee to pay it through the cell app. When literally in the building, the lady standing right there they're charging a convenience fee. And you know why they're doing that? Because a lot of people that are in the courtroom are poor people, and a lot of people that are poor don't have cell phones, so they have no choice to pay it online.
That's fucked up, man.
So they rob them. I'm like, my God, it should be cheaper if you're in person. If anything, the convenience fee should be using the digital equivalent that's faster, and you don't have to deal with a human.
It doesn't make sense because it's cheap as fuck to handle the back end for payment processing. You don't need to be charged. Ticketmaster does not need to be charging me $80 for the convenience of buying through them. Fuck you.
It's so stupid, man. It's so stupid. Like, yeah, fuck convenience fees, man. There's nothing convenient about a convenience fee. Like literally $25. Like that would have bought me the gas to drive back and forth to that courthouse probably 3 times. It's like, and I feel bad because it's like that is just blatant. And then I'm sure on top of that I paid tax. I don't know for sure, but I bet you on top of that, like on the invoice, they're like, oh, in Washington State sales tax, I'm paying your ticket for a non-payable thing.
On your ticket.
That's so stupid, dude. It's so stupid, man. Our legal system here in the United States, our tax system, our legal system, everything here is broken, man.
Can we just have like a revolution already? Like
we should.
A proper one, not like fucking Civil War status. I'm talking like a complete upheaval and readjustment of.
And you know what the sad thing is? If I had just paid $300, which was only like, once the convenience fee and taxes and everything was only like $25 more than I actually paid. If I'd have just paid $25 more, I could have paid Jeannie Mucklestone, the richer lawyer, to go into court and literally just say move for dismissal, and they wouldn't have even questioned it. They wouldn't have called the officer, wouldn't have even came in. It would have been at the beginning of the day. I wouldn't even had to be there. I wouldn't have had to go to court, so I would have saved the gas money too. So I basically would have broke even, and she would have got it thrown out or refunded me the money because her success rate's 100% basically.
Right.
So I learned my lesson after that, and so now, anytime I get a ticket, I'm just going to call Jeannie Mucklestone and just have her take care of it because they have a relationship with the court. I mean, it depends on where you get the ticket. Obviously, if you get the ticket, outside of what is it? Redmond, Seattle, Bellevue.
Oh.
Yeah, you want to get it in like King County because the court system there knows her. She has a rapport with them and stuff and can basically just get you off of anything for money. But outside of that system, then you'd have to go hire an attorney that's familiar with that system and has relationships. And dude, they don't even hide it. Like if you call up like an attorney that fights traffic tickets, they'll tell you like blatantly right on the phone, like, oh, we have a really good relationship with the court and blah, blah, blah. And judge blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, he's a good buddy of ours. And I think that we can get this taken care of for you, Mr. Berg. Totally. It's like, dude, it's like, if you have money, you don't pay anything. Like if you have money, you can just break the law and keep doing this. And I mean, the court gets paid, right? The court gets paid because Jeannie Mucklestone, I'm sure, is paying a convenience fee for 30 people at a time to the court of like $25, and then she's pocketing the rest, and then it doesn't go on anybody's record, right? That's why they're doing it.
Yeah.
It's such BS, man. MD Hofsey said our tax system is about the same here in the EU. The difference is VAT versus sales tax. And the fact that we tend to break out our taxes by organization who is taking the money. Oh, interesting.
That'd be cool. Like, I wish we had so the idea is that the people have control over how our money is spent by voting in people who are supposed to represent our, wants and desires and stuff.
Supposed to.
I wish we had more control over, like more direct control over, like imagine if the government was like a humble bundle, right? Where you could like adjust the sliders, which I know has recently changed, but whatever. You can adjust the sliders like, oh, okay, you're going to take whatever, 20% of my income for taxes. Well, I want of that total, I want 80% of that to go to NASA. I want 10% of it to go to whatever,
that would actually be pretty cool.
HHS or whatever.
Yeah.
And then fucking the military can have bake sales and shit in the Kickstarter to get
That'd be funny. We have like a really powerful school system and like really nice roads, but the military's just falling apart. Yeah, it would too.
I mean, who are we like I don't know. That's a whole nother rant for another thing. But like, who are we afraid of? Like who are these F-22s going after?
Well, I mean, we kind of made it.
Well, I mean, like if we're gonna do this war on terror, I don't think the Taliban has fighter jets, that aren't like 1980s MiGs or something. Like Syria. Oh yeah, Syria. I bet Syria's got a great fucking, Air Force going on.
Sure. They're all flying like Cessnas with like bottle rockets taped onto the wings.
Maybe China, but really, are we actually bombing anything in China? Like, it's all economics. It's all cyber warfare now. The whole concept of having, I mean, for all we spend on our military and our intelligence like network and everything else, it took 12 guys with box cutters, right? Like,
that I think it was like 2 guys with box cutters
doing super great job, guys.
Yeah,
for $700 billion or trillions of fucking dollars every fucking.
Speaking of box cutters, did you see in the news that like that dude tried to take the Delta flight?
Are you serious?
Yeah, some dude. So check this out. It went a little bit differently than 9/11 though. So some dude on a Delta flight headed between California and Tennessee decides to just get up out of his chair, start fighting with a like a stewardess or I don't know what, like a airline attendant.
Yeah, the flight attendant.
Yeah, flight attendant, and then tried to break into the cockpit. Was like railing on the door and trying to physically bust into the cockpit. And a bunch of passengers basically just like mobbed the dude, slam him down on the ground. They get zip ties. They hog tie his hands behind his back and his legs and carry him to the back of the plane, and they divert and land. And law enforcement offloads him. They still don't know what his motivations were, what he's doing. But dude, if you're trying to rip the door off the cockpit and get into the cockpit, you do not have good intentions.
Yeah.
Like that dude wanted to get in there to mess with the airplane. Like he wanted, maybe he was like suicidal or something like that. Who knows what they're still trying to figure out what the cause is. But that's what you do, man. If I was on an airplane and I see some dude stand, I don't care if he has a box cutter. I don't care if he has a fucking samurai sword, man. If somebody gets up and is like trying to bust into the cockpit on the airplane, like they're going to try to kill you, dude. Like that does not end well for you in the end. Like fight that shit. Everybody get up and pin him against the wall. 200 passengers on an airplane versus one guy. It doesn't matter if he has a freaking machine gun. You're still going to win in the end. So it's like, don't let them do that. But yeah, they did the right thing, man. They got this guy to the ground. They wrestled his arms behind his back. They zip tied him and then carried him down the aisle all the way to the back of the plane.
Right on.
was like, dude, that's how it's done. That is how it's all on video too. Like somebody, so they didn't get the video of him fighting the stewardess, or at least somebody hasn't come forward with that video yet. I'd be surprised if somebody didn't turn on their phone like the second he started starting shit, because people are like that.
Right.
But there is a video of the people basically like just dragging him down to the ground and like pinning him, and then get the zip ties. And apparently they have zip ties on airlines, so they zip tied him up and put him away. And I was like, yes, this is how the outcome should be. Could you imagine being on a flight where shit like that happens though? Like after the traumatic stress that we have from like 9/11 and all that shit happening, we literally go through TSA and get molested like every single day we fly.
Man, even
to be safe. Well, it's security theater. Yeah.
Like, even that's not even as bad as it used to be. Like
that is true. That is true. It has actually lightened up.
It's like super smooth. Everybody just kind of going along with things, and like they've even like lightened things up quite a bit. Like most I don't know, a couple times where they're like, dude, you don't even have to take your shoes off. Like, just come on, put all your shit in the bucket. You don't even have to take anything out. Certain airports I think are better than others. I went through one just recently where it was like, don't even take your stuff out of the bag. You don't have to take your laptops, nothing. Just put the bag.
Dude, that happened to SeaTac. That literally happened to SeaTac.
I was like, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Just pile everything into 2-3 buckets, push it through the machine, you're done.
Yeah, no, when I was flying down to California way back when I went to see Jay, I was going through SeaTac and they were backed up, and basically, everybody only had like 20 minutes to get to their gate.
Yeah.
And so it was really backed up. So a bunch of TSA officers come forward and they're like, everybody, don't take off your shoes. Don't take off your belts. Do not take anything out of your bags. Put them on the belt. Walk through. Single file line. And I mean, it was literally like everybody was just like, me, just like through, like not even doing the backscatter machine. They shut down the backscatter machine. They were going through the metal detector, but they were just, only if somebody signaled would they do something. And it was just a really quick pat down. Like you literally, like dudes had keys in their pockets and stuff. They're like, oh, is that just keys in your pocket? Yeah. Okay, cool. Go ahead. Yeah. And they let through so many people so fast, like a floodgate. The first thing I thought of is, well, God, if a terrorist was trying to get through right there, he just did, because there's no way they stopped him.
The testing, they'll do like secret shopper stuff. It's like 95% failure rate. You can sneak shit in there all the time.
Oh, I did accidentally. Like, I think I told you a story about how I took like a double. I think I have it here on the desk, actually. I have a bat knife somebody sent me. Yeah, it's a double bladed. It's 6 inches long, or no more than 6 inches when both blades are out. It's like this big. When it's folded out, it's like this big, huge bat knife, and I had it in the back of a Scotty vest that had a pocket in the back, and it slid down into the pocket in the small of my back. And so I went in, I took it off, I stuck it in the bin, and then I put my laptop in the bin next to it, and it floated right through, no problems. Walk through, put my belt on, put my shoes on, get on the plane, fly all the way to where I'm get back to the hotel room, and I sit down, and I'm like, I felt something in the small of my back. I'm like, what is that? I reach in there, and I find a little secret compartment, and I pull it out, and it's this freaking knife. So my friends that were there that were driving back, they drove down there, like doing a road trip. I actually gave it to him to drive it back up so I could get it from him later, because I didn't want to risk trying to bring it through TSA again, because if they nabbed it, they'd take it that time. But I was like, I was on a plane with like a double-edged knife, not even realizing it, and it blows my mind, because how much shit are they missing? A lot.
Well,
it's just meant as security theater. It's meant to scare you, right? It's meant to deter you, because there's a chance, right? If you're a terrorist, you're going to be nervous, and there's going to be like sweat coming down your thing, because they always pull you when you do that. Like I sweat like a pig, so every time I go there, I always get pulled aside for the backscatter machine every single time.
I do remember that there was supposed to be some kind of like a list. There's like a checklist of that of like certain characteristics that they're kind of keeping an eye out for. When it comes to somebody who is like about to do something like big like that. In particular, I think the list that I was thinking of is more aimed at like suicide bombers, but it's like a similar sort of thing,
like behaviors clothing, and stuff that they might show.
Yeah, odd clothing for the locale, a blank sort of like deadpan look. So oftentimes they'll be doing something like repetitive, either mumbling to themselves over and over, or like fiddling with their hands, that sort of a thing. But I mean, it's the same kind of deal with like hacking and whatnot. Like a determined bad actor, or your house. Like we've talked about home security. A determined bad actor will get in. The idea is to make it as difficult as you can within reason. So like the terrorist or somebody, it doesn't have to be a terrorist, but somebody who genuinely wants to cause harm, at a place anywhere can do so with the appropriate amount of motivation, you know.
No, totally. And it's a matter of self-preservation too. If somebody doesn't care what happens to them, if their objective is more important than what happens to them, then you're not going to stop them with any passive alarm system or anything that signals their location or risk of being captured. Like none of that matters. So they'll just take it to the next level, and then you have to have some kind of active system at that point to stop them, because you're not going to reason with them. You're not going to create a situation in which it's worse for them if they don't do what they're going to do. And it's crazy, but I mean, it's true. And so security theater at the airport is obviously just to get you to basically confess or look guilty, right? And it works. Every time I go through TSA, I'm like sweating bullets, and I'm like, oh my god, don't kill me. It's like then I go have like rage and diarrhea after I get through. It's like get through TSA, go straight to the bathroom, because it's such a stressful thing for me, because every single time I go through, they hit me with the backscatter. I basically signal in my lower back and up in my right shoulder for some reason that I have like bombs on me. And so every single time I go through, they pull me to the side, the dog has to sniff me down, and some dude has to grope the small of my back and my balls for some reason. And it's just, I'm just used to it now. Like I actually tried to make a joke about it once, and I realized really quick that it's bad to make jokes about things when the TSA officers like filling you up. Dude, they get super uptight. Yeah. I had a guy that was there, and I was like, I made the comment, like, and it was Zachariah was standing there, and I made the comment, and I was like, hey, could you at least buy me dinner first or something like that? Because he was like right up in my junk. And he looked up to me and he said, sir, please be quiet. And then he like went extra aggro on me. like I got the extra special treatment. So he was working on me for probably about 30-45 seconds, where normally they do it for like maybe 10. Yeah. So I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't make these remarks. I was pissed too. I reported that one to the TSA. I was like, dude, your officer basically molested me for making a joke, and I didn't like it. So, oh man. But the thing is too, is like celebrities just walk right through. Like, I know, because that happened to me twice, where I went to happened in SeaTac, and it happened when I went to Bay Area Maker Faire, and I went to the little it was one of the smaller airports down in California. Yeah. And I walked in, and the dude in TSA goes, "Oh my god, dude, Barnacules." I'm like, "Yo, dude, what's up?" And he comes over and literally like takes the little fence thing down, lets me through with all my bags and everything, and just walks me right around all the machinery, nothing on the belt, didn't even have to take my backpack off, nothing, got my bag behind me, and just chauffeurs me through.
The little ones are where it's at. Like I left out of Venice Beach. I think it was like some tiny, that, by the way. It was a tiny little airport. South of LA, if I remember correctly, because I'd missed my flight leaving LAX, so I had to go to a different airport. It was this tiny little thing. I'm pretty sure it was Venice Beach, and dude, it had like old funky X-ray machines for like your bag and like a regular metal detector, and I walked out onto the tarmac to get up onto the plane, and that kind of thing. It was so tiny, and that kind of place is probably like they questioned my lightsaber a bunch because like it's heavy and looks like
it's like a bludgeoning instrument.
So, but yeah, I'm like that would have been. It was just silly how like.
Yeah, you have to let you take this on the plane. Like I've never once had a problem taking this on the plane. It's a 30,000 milliamp hour Auxxzillary lithium battery. I could pry this open with something and make it into a freaking bomb that would kill everybody. It's like
the potential energy in a laptop battery, right?
Or just lithium dioxide is like poisonous as shit, right? If you just set this on fire on a sealed system, like everybody would just suffocate to death.
Don't even get me started. The shit that you can just buy after security, like aerosol sprays and stuff. Like, come on.
Yeah, I never understood that either. That's a little weird. Like you can only have like a 3-ounce bottle, but you can go buy like a full bottle, like freaking shampoo at the duty-free store before you get on the airplane. Like, oh man, so many monopolies going on here. It's okay. It's good to rant about this stuff, since we might actually get to use airplanes again after this long hiatus. Whoop, whoop. Although you got to be on one. What was it like? What was it like being on an airplane during the zombie apocalypse? Like towards the end here, was it feel normal?
Yeah, this is nothing different. Wear the mask all the time.
You just wear a mask all the time? Yeah. You can still take the mask down to like drink and eat and stuff, right?
Yeah. But you got to put it back.
You got to put it back. Yeah. Were they being pretty good about it too? Like walking up and down the aisles telling people to put their shit back on?
Very, very strict. Yeah. They're very,
good.
If you're walking past and it's like off your nose even, they're like, hey, will you put your mask back up, please? Oh.
Dark March Animation said that people probably hide a lot of stuff in their folds. So I'm gonna do that next time I go to the TSA. I'm gonna lift up my belly and just store like half a fucking Domino's pizza up under there before I go through the backscatter machine, and just see what they detect. And then when it falls, like they'll lift my belly and it'll just fall out, and I'll be like, oh, I didn't know that was there. I forgot. Like, oh my god. Just go and get like a double-ended like adult toy or something like that, and just like put it up under there and just rest my belly over it, and then walk through the backscatter, and it just shows like this giant thing. It looks like I'm wearing like a dong belt. That would be fun. See, that would be something that I'd do if I had somebody recording it and I could put it on the internet right before they tased me and like, you know, started kicking me in the head, which would just make the video more viral. So remember this is the new logic of the internet and how you make viral videos. Yeah. I watched this one YouTuber. Shit, man, why can't I remember anybody's name? Something Ranch, Rescue Ranch. It's like this dude that just like in his backyard, he just rescues animals. Like he just goes and he has like rayas, which are like these, you know, ostrich looking things. And he has one named Kevin that attacks. You guys probably have heard of his channel. It's going gangbusters. Like the dude literally now is getting like 500,000 views per video. And he was just starting like a little while ago. Yeah. And it's because every single one of his videos, he starts up. He has a clickbaity ass thumbnail. He has a really clickbaity ass title. And in every single video, him and this Kevin keeps trying to attack him, which is he gives everything names like names of celebrities and stuff, so that the algorithm. So his entire video, he's like his one of his animals is the baby, because that's something that's trending or whatever right now. And then one of his animals is like Fortnite, and then Gamer and Sus. And there's like all these different names, Among Us or Amogus or whatever he says, because he's just trying to train the algorithm, and it works. Yeah. It absolutely works. I was laughing, and he starts off every single video, and I crack up. He's like, hello, epic pranksters, Amogus, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, Fortnite, Minecraft, you know, and he just goes through like 30 or all the keywords. And the first words of the show, he's like, hello, blah, 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 and then he ends with gate pranksters. And so he just adds more and more every episode. So he's like up to like 30 some things sometimes. He has to read them off a list that he hangs on the window behind the camera. And it's hilarious because it's so much viewership, and it's basically just him going to war with this Rhea bird, like hitting it in the head with garbage can lids when it keeps attacking him. And then PETA like got mad at him, so now he hits it with a pillow. He just has a pillow fight with this thing in his yard. But anyways, it's like, oh man, that's the whole algorithm now isn't about quality content so much as about just gaming the algorithm. It's all gaming the algorithm now. And so if I ever decide to return to YouTube making edited video content, the only way to actually survive in that model is to use that algorithm in the game. And it sucks because a lot of people don't want to watch the content that games the algorithm. But at the same time, this guy's brilliant. Like if everybody did it like this guy, I'd be like totally cool with it because it's actually super entertaining. But you can tell he has to do it because of that. You know, it's like he has a channel that has content that wouldn't regularly be seen. So he has to use a bunch of other keywords and associations and stuff like that to get his stuff visible. Right. Yeah. Like I think the last video he made, he titled it something like he calls the female Rhea his wife, and then he calls the male Rhea his wife's boyfriend. So everything's drama and controversial, right? So the title of his video is like, I got in a pillow fight with my wife's boyfriend. And then people can't flag it for false information because in all of his videos, he does call her his wife, and he does call him his wife's boyfriend. Nice. And then he refers to him as Kevin and Karen because they're, you know, always asking for the manager. Right. It's just, oh my God, it's really well done. It's really, really well done. Miss Liz said, is that the guy that hit the bird with the garbage can lid? Yes. Oh, geez. Yes, he literally takes a garbage can lid and uses it like a shield and just like bops the thing in the head with it. Because I mean, it literally like it makes him bleed, dude, when it bites his arm. This is a giant bird. It's like a bird that's as tall as you are. Wow. And so he uses the lid to deter it away. He's not hurting it. Like the animal's perfectly fine. It just keeps coming back at him again and again and again. It's not all it's meant to do is just establish dominance. So it buys him a little bit of time to work with other animals while this thing's chasing around trying to bite his ass and run him off. And but people were getting mad about it. And so instead of him just stop doing it, he decided to make it into like a whole meme thing where he did an episode where he's like, I'm not hurting Kevin. And Kevin just walking around biting him and blood's running down his arm. And he's got like battle scars all over him. And Kevin's like just ripping his flesh off his arm. And he's like, oh, but I'm not going to hit him with the garbage can lid because this is good. He's like, this is good stuff. The internet loves watching me get abused by Kevin. This is awesome. And then he, you know, making fun of everybody. And then the next video is him pillow fighting. And he takes a pillow and he just goes out there and he's just wailing on this bird with his pillow. And he's like, don't worry, Pete, I'm using a pillow. It's not hurting him. It's fine. We're just having a friendly pillow fight. Oh my God. If you haven't seen this guy, it is hilarious. This shit, he puts out a video literally every day and it's amazing. Hey, what's up, Repcord? Oh shit. Perfectly within the bounds of bird law. Yeah. Yes. I haven't seen that show in a long time. What was that? It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Mm, that's a good show. That's a really good. Are they still making episodes of that, by the way? Oh, we lost him. We lost him. The great AuxxZillary is dead. Rest in peace. He was a good co-host. But then the tsunami of wait, he's alive. He's back. He's back. I thought we lost him. Oh my god, that was close. I thought he died, guys. I thought he died.
I heard some scratching at the door.
You're alive, dude. We thought I already had like your funeral while you were gone.
Oh,
I told everybody you're dying and the rest in peace. Oh my gosh, dude. All right, let's see. Do we got everybody in here? Okay, 369 viewers, keeping it 69.
Doing all right. Hey.
Thank you for coming and hanging out with us this fine Saturday. That's what it's called. The channel is called the Urban Rescue Ranch.
Aha.
So today's video is unofficially sponsored by Urban Rescue Ranch. The guy that beats his birds with a pillow and a garbage can lid. It's actually, I don't know. It's funny. It's absolutely a funny channel. And and he's not hurting the bird. You can clearly tell. People are just all up. Right. They got their nuts up in a bunch. Wait, our beard Jesus is resurrectal. He lives.
Hey, thank you.
Oh, look at that.
42 for the 10.99 euro.
First super chat of the day. Devlin42. Thank you for supporting our dreams. And quite frankly, supporting our lives and our ability to do this.
That's 1337 USD. He did leet money on purpose.
Oh, he would have, because that's his money. Oh, so he actually went and did the math on that.
I do believe.
There's no, dude, if that was accidental.
I cannot imagine that was not on purpose.
Yeah, that's the odds would be astronomical. He had to type it in late.
The current exchange, 10.99 euro is 1337 USD.
I bet you he looked it up thinking that we see it as dollars on our side.
Yeah,
so maybe. If you put it in, but it doesn't. It shows if you guys do super chats, it actually shows us in your denomination.
Just a slider. He says just a slider. So like just.
Oh, it's just a slider you move. Okay, so
on your side, the slider is that in USD, and then you're just paying the exchange basically, or is it? Did you slide it to 10.99 and it's in your local currency? Oh, okay, yeah. So it was on purpose.
Yeah,
I see.
The funny thing is, if you look at the dashboard in YouTube, it shows it as $13.38. So YouTube's rounding is different than the other one you looked at.
Oh, it's just whatever Google told me.
Interesting.
Honestly, I'd rather, if you're going to give me fractions of a penny, I would rather round down. Honestly,
that's true. That is true. I would too.
I mean, it's a penny, but I'd still prefer to come. I don't know. I'd rather underestimate a penny on that sort of tiny fractions like that. I don't know. That's me.
You know what? I'm going to try something new. Everybody that does a super chat, I'm going to say today's video is sponsored by you. That's here. Let's give this a try.
You do like the old PBS thing.
Exactly. So today's episode of Tech Talk is sponsored by Devlin42. That son bitch that has euros.
By viewers like
you. You can find him in such places as chat.
Yep.
There you go. See, I like it. Go buy his wares. I don't know if he has any wares, but go buy them anyways. Tell him you want him to make wares so you can buy them. All right. So let's see. Let's jump into some of these topics, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about the UFOs, man. What about all the shit that's going on with the UFOs right now?
So, yeah, I guess this has been building up for a little while, actually.
It has.
Hold
on. We have just become sponsored. A new sponsor has arrived. Tech Talk is now sponsored by Savage Scientist. He's testing the algorithm because he's too scared to do 666. I think he'll be fine, dude. I mean, Google's already the devil, so you might as well just full send. But yeah, today's video is now sponsored by Savage Scientist. Buy his wares. I don't know if he has any wares.
I don't know. His most powerful potions.
If you guys want us to like read a bit about your shop or whatever, if you're selling wares or if you just want to put something funny, just put it in the text and we can read that.
Yeah. And I need to redo my advertisement scene.
Oh wait, yeah. Do you have an advertiser this week?
I don't. Or I don't think so. No,
bro. If you're dropping the ball and not advertising your advertiser right now, come on, bro.
The last one we did right.
Oh shit, bro. Today's video is sponsored by Slime Dog.
Slime Dog.
He's scared of UFOs.
Check my Twitter.
And he can't set his avatar.
Pretty sure.
So Dude, that's gonna be so bad if you had a sponsor.
I think the last one was the Never Ever band. We did that one.
Oh, guys, today's video is now sponsored by Daniel Ewan. Or Ewan. Awen? Daniel Owen? The sexy person with the glasses on who can set their avatar. Sponsored. See, this is way better than Raid Shadow Legends. Fuck those guys, man. Just be sponsored by people in chat. You can find all these sponsors and their goods over in chat, guys. Buy all their stuff because it is top quality.
Sub to their channels or whatever.
Yeah, go like follow them on social media and shit. Like that's what you should do. People want attention. Give them some. We want attention. Other people want attention. Just give them attention. Yeah, people need to say more nice things. I feel like people would have a better life if they said more nice things.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of trying to make positivity louder, right? I know, like sometimes we get on rants and complaining and stuff around on the show.
That's just sucking the venom out of the hole, dude. It's like in a way, like you gotta do that every once in a while.
But genuinely, man, pump up your buddies and stuff. Like when they're doing cool shit, tell them. Like just let somebody know that you appreciate them.
Seriously, I always get like a tingle, man. I get like a little. I'm not gonna say it's a taint tickle, but a tickle. I get a little tickle when somebody messages me because that thing you did, that was really cool, man. That was really cool, that thing you did. It always makes me feel like a little warm and fuzzy. So if you just be nice to somebody, it will make their day. You can take somebody who's having like a super shitty day. Like you find somebody that is having a super shitty day. They feel alone. They feel like nothing's going their way or whatever. And just say, you know what? I appreciate you. Yeah. And that one little gesture will change their entire outlook for the day. It's crazy. It absolutely does.
I know for me, it's a big, like I'm the people that I care most about. I am like, it's very important to me that I do a good job. Like that they are proud, I guess, of me, or at least that they're not like mad or irritated, those kinds of things.
Your idea of praise is just they're not mad. like
hey,
lowered expectations.
And the more like I look into like the ADHD stuff, and I think it's like a little bit of what they refer to as rejection sensitivity disorder, something like that. I don't know about the disorder part, but rejection sensitivity, and it's like you're super overly concerned about like people not being necessarily proud of you, but like about doing a good job so that you don't disappoint people.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
Oh, Daniel said that super sticker was acquired with Google Opinions rewards. What the hell is a Google Opinions rewards?
You're like doing
wait, you can actually do super chats like with like doing like opinion things? What?
Yeah, he's probably doing
that's news to me.
Surveys.
I didn't know that. I did not know that was I thought that super chats had to be like you paid for them. I didn't think that there was like a way that you could get them otherwise.
Imagine it loads up on your Google wallet.
Well, holy shit, folks.
Something like that. Whoa.
Look at all these sponsors. Today's video.
Pounds. That's a good one. That
Here, let's alternate. I'll take Bradley, then you take Ed, and then I'll take Anthony. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Sure. Today's video is sponsored by Bradley Smith, graphics design genius. Hit him up in the chat if you need some graphics.
Yeah. Ed T. This next section is sponsored by Ed T for $1. He has
what is his avatar? What is that? Is that like a retina or something? I'm trying to figure out.
I feel like it's like a pencil.
Like a pencil? Like a drawing of some kind? I'm trying to figure out what that is.
Marble? Like a marble countertop?
Ed T, we need input. Ed, need input. Oh, and today's video is especially sponsored by Anthony Hamilton for 30 pounds. He said, I'm getting some pizza for dinner. Please have some on me.
Oh, dude, thank you very much.
So he's literally buying this pizza.
Ed T says that's the wall in my bathroom.
Cool. Is it really? He just took a picture of the wall in his bathroom and made it his avatar. That's awesome.
Hey,
that's actually pretty hilarious. Art March said, "Congrats on the sexy voice." Hey. I can break it out when I need it. I'm not the looker that I used to be. So I got to make up and compensate in other areas, ladies.
Oh yeah.
TikTok today is brought to you by Devlin42, Savage Scientist, Slim Dog, Daniel Ewan, Bradley Smith, Ed T, and Anthony Hamilton. Because of them, we can afford to buy shit like coffee and electrons and H2O. Oh, you got your wiener dog. Oh my God, look at that little wiener. He's so cute. He is so cute. My God, he's so tiny.
He's super micro. Like,
He's just an itty bitty little weenie dog.
Obviously he's gotten bigger because he's a
I wonder if there's any
still.
genetic mutations of wiener dogs where they get like longer than they normally would. Like I want to see like a limo dog. I want to see a dog that's like 4 feet long and 6 inches tall.
Oh, dude, that's got to be rough on the back.
Oh God, dude, totally.
You get like the bow, it'd be like bleh.
Just dragging its belly on the ground. Like you have to like make it a set of wheels, like 3D print some wheels and like strap it around their midsection. Oh, Daniel said he got it. He said it's okay. Surveys, it gives you Google Play balance money, average of 10 to 30 cents each. You can use it for super chat things with your phone though. That's weird. I did not know that. That's very similar to how people can watch ads on Twitch to get bits.
Can they though? Because
I didn't know. Well, they can't they? I had somebody message me in chat saying they got 50 cents for watching one ad.
It's been all over the place for me.
Well, sir, you need to do better.
I'm sure
you need to do better. It is nobody's fault but your own, and you need to do better. Okay? You know what you should do is just do an entire Twitch stream of just you doing that with the dog. Just like 30 minutes of some music playing, like I mean, you'd make so much bank. You'd be rolling. All right. Oh, shit. Okay, we got one more sponsor, and then we'll get back to the UFOs. Oh, today's video is sponsored by Gimpy G Gaming. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. It's Gimpy Kata? The deadliest and funniest martial. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Gimpy Kata, the deadliest and funniest martial art in theaters July 4th. Watch it now.
Oh, yeah.
Alex Jones approves. I haven't done that one in a while.
Dang, man, Sird Elux 2222. This thank you for wasting your money.
Today's video is sponsored by Sird Deluxe, giving us $2 or $22.22 because he obviously has OCD. Hey, that's a real thing, by the way. I have OCD, so don't joke about that. I'm very sensitive about my OCDs. Although I don't have the weird OCD where you like bang on the wall like 30 times and turn the light switch on and off 50 times. I got that weird symmetrical OCD sure. Where everything has to be symmetrical. Like when shit's like out of balance, like if you have two things on a shelf and like one's over a little too far and the other one's not perfect, or a picture frame's like crooked, it drives me absolutely batshit crazy. Like I can't get over it.
I got to think about open doors, like cabinet doors and stuff. Freaks me out.
Dude, same with me. I have a cabinet door in my kitchen that it's got a broken, the hinge that pulls it closed. Yeah. That little mechanism broke in it. So if you close it, it'll just pop back open slowly. Every time I go in the kitchen, I like slowly push it and like hold it. And then I leave the kitchen. Every time I come back and it's cracked open like an inch, I have to close it again. It drives me absolutely batshit crazy.
Yeah, bonkers. Couldn't do it.
It's okay. You know what it means? I looked it up. If you have OCD, it means that you're an incredibly smart individual that's better than everybody else on planet Earth. I looked it up.
Right.
You can trust the internet. I saw it on Twitter, so you can believe it. So what do you think about these UFOs, bro?
Oh, right. So I guess earlier in the year, I know that actually I want to say it was a while back. The Pentagon like declassified a bunch of paperwork about it.
And videos too. They released some videos.
Yeah. I know it like blew up again recently. I think because there was like a 60 Minutes thing where a couple like Navy pilots were talking about some of the things that they had seen. Yep. And I think it was like at the same time they had released some of these videos, and I think it was like the people in the videos were like discussing like, oh yeah, this is our footage, this is what we were doing. And then there's supposed to be like an official like Congress report coming out on the 20th, I think it is, or soon this
one
month.
Report already came out. That wasn't the one.
It was like the initial announcement. I think it was like, hey, this is like we're releasing all these. We're going to release a bunch of documents and stuff. We're talking about, we're coming out with we've been seeing some weird shit, and so like they're putting enough oomph and time and money behind it to actually like start really kind of looking into this stuff to see like what, like, can we find anything else? Can we find anything about this? But it's like,
I know the first report that they released though was like, it created more questions than answers. It was basically just a bunch of like denials, but also no confirmations.
Right.
It was like, oh, these things are, they're probably not, or they might not be, but we can't be 100% sure. And it's like, oh well.
Everybody always assumes when you start talking about UFOs, you immediately mean like aliens. Extraterrestrials,
yeah,
right? And that isn't the case. Like you have to think about the term.
Well, just break it down. UFO, what is
unidentified flying object?
Yeah, it doesn't matter where it came from.
Yeah, and so like anything could be a joke, but like
a seagull, a frisbee,
UFO,
a drone.
If you're bad at identifying things, right? But the idea though is like it's gotten to a point, I guess, where it's no longer just something to like brush aside. Like they've got to look into this. Like, is this something weird? Is this just like, are these atmospheric problems? Are these like, is it new drone tech or something? Like what?
That makes a hell of a lot more sense to me. Like that's the thing is like a lot of people want to jump to the whole, oh my God, it's alien. I don't want to say it's aliens, but it's aliens. And the thing is, there's so many explanations that do make sense. Like, for instance, some of the videos that they show are super high altitude aircraft that are looking down to the water, right?
Right.
And so it looks like there's like this, bird-sized thing moving at like warp speed across the water in a very straight line. But if you realize that the bird is flying really high, right? It's a small bird flying at a super high altitude.
Right.
It's too small of a radio cross section to get a distance reading on it. So you're making the assumption that it's over the water, but it's really high. Then you get a parallax effect.
Sure.
Which it looks like the water's flying by at 1 billion miles an hour because you're flying over like this, right? Looking down on this bird that's like up here. And so as it's looking down, the water's just like flying by at like warp speed. And they're saying that would perfectly explain this. Like it literally could just be a bird flying over the water. It could be a balloon just literally hovering. And because of the speed of the jet and the parallax effect against its background could create the illusion of speed. I mean, it doesn't explain every single one of them, obviously, but it's like, as you look at each one of these, you can start to think, like I saw one that literally looks like a drone. Like I looked at it literally looks like a DJI. One of the videos, it literally looks like somebody's flying like a DJI Inspire 1 or something like that. And they're like, oh man, it's moving up and down and it's moving left and right. And you're like, yeah, that's what drones do. Like they can hover and shit, dude. Like that's what they do. They fly. They can fly at like 60 miles an hour. Like where have you been? Like you can buy this at Hobbytown. Yeah. So and then the other thing too is like they even said in the report that they can't even say for sure that it wasn't U.S. military assets.
Right.
Because in a lot of these areas that these pilots are flying, there's multiple ordnance deployed, multiple different aircraft deployed, there's drones and shit. Like they don't absolutely coordinate and know where every single little thing is at every point in time. And they're always doing drills and exercises, which means if they have an aerial drone they're trying to shoot down and they don't shoot it down, it just goes until it's out of fuel. So it could be a number of things.
You got to think too, like, okay, when we were developing like the stealth bomber, right? That shit looks like a fucking alien spacecraft.
Dude, if I saw one of those, like, I'd freak out.
50 years ago, 50 years ago, when your only experience with airplanes is like the most advanced airplane you've ever seen in your entire life was like, I don't know, the fucking A-10 Warthog or something. Like this is and you see like this weird shape flying fast through the air. Could be all kind of weird stuff. And like, why would these so-called UFOs have nav lights on them? For the same reason we put lights on anything. Again, you're equating UFO with alien spacecraft. Like that just confuses things.
The other thing too is, did you know that you can turn the nav lights off on aircraft?
Sure. Just like you can turn your running lights off on a boat.
Yeah. Do you think our SR-71 spy plane, when we're flying over Russia, they got like their big fucking wing beacons blinking? No, they turn their shit off. Yeah. And obviously these are aircraft that don't want to be identified, if they are even aircraft. That's the thing is they might not in many of these cases. It could literally, because here's the thing, people are like, I just saw somebody in chat, they made the comment, I responded to them. They're like, well, these Navy pilots aren't dumb. I'm not saying Navy pilots are dumb. They have sensors, but they trust their sensors, right? They're trained on these sensors. The sensors can lie. Sensors can lie all the time. I've seen a million different times where like the sensors on an aircraft, like if you've ever played any kind of even simulators that simulate this type of behavior, you can have phenomenon where basically like the density in the air builds up too much and it can overwhelm the sensor and the sensor will start seeing phantoms. Yeah. And they know it. Like they're trained to see that and say that can happen. There are situations where the sensors can become blind or they can pick up things that are not what they appear. Right. Like I literally watched a video of a Navy pilot that was like flying in formation during an exercise where they were trying to get a lock on each other, like just a weapons lock. Yeah. And the dude could not get a weapon lock on the craft in front of him. Like no matter what he did, it was completely invisible to him, even though it was like right there, it had the emissions. And it was because the sensor on the ship was faulty.
Yeah,
They tested it and it worked on the ground and everything. They launched it. It broke somehow. It did not work in the air any longer. So in that case, if you were out flying and you couldn't get a weapons lock, are you going to be like, one, is the sensor broken, which logically would make more sense, or two, is the aircraft I'm flying some alien technology that doesn't emit any heat? Because that's what you're locking onto, right? Is that the heat spectrum of light. And or IR. There's different ways that you can lock on with different weapons, but they could not get a weapons lock with like a Sidewinder missile. So does that mean that there's not heat barreling out of the back of this obvious jet that has this giant freaking afterburner flame shooting out of the back of it? Or is it more likely that the sensor is just damaged?
Right.
Or somebody didn't wipe the lens down before you took off and there's like a big fucking booger on it, or like it got hit by a crow or something when you're taking off. Like there's a million explanations for this shit, but everybody wants to go to the, oh my God, it's aliens. It's aliens, and they're trying. Like, if you were an alien on Earth, don't you think you'd do something that's a little bit more noteworthy that would get your attention than just flying over the ocean and every shot and looking blurry like Bigfoot?
Yeah, it's a weird sort of mix, right? Because to take it from that angle, poor little guy, he's just bored. Like, let me out of here! You're not playing with me.
By the way, today's video is now sponsored by Silent Jim. He's not to be confused with Loud Jim because he's silent. He said, "Keep creating the great content, guys. Please go follow and sub Silent Jim, the guy with the eye patch in his avatar. That's not very loud. He's actually silent. We're going to call him ASMR Jim from now on." Okay, there we go.
Really quiet, Jim.
See, I like this. We don't have to have Raid. We don't have to have Raid Shadow Legends or fucking Omaze or any of these other sellout sponsors. We can just have people sponsor us. This is wonderful.
I like it.
I do. This is the way to go.
And the thing with aliens, right? It's like, say, extraterrestrials. It's super weird. It's the wrong angle to assume human motivation for these hypothetical extraterrestrials. We don't, whatever, like, our drive is like mostly curiosity and mixed with like a little hate and anger, right? And so, like, but some other creature may not necessarily have the same like motivation. So like, where we would want to maybe make a stink and like make ourselves known and like investigate, or not, because you can always take like the Star Trek angle of like, oh, don't interfere, right? Which, especially if it's like an observational sort of thing, that would be the best practice, would be to do your very best not to contaminate your observation, right? You don't want to interact because you're watching, and your interaction is going to change, so you want to minimize that as much as possible. So it's just, I don't know, man. It's a weird, fuzzy thing. I feel like most of what these weird things that we're seeing are explainable phenomenon. They're not, intelligent beings from elsewhere. I don't think.
And I'm not saying there is aliens.
Sense,
I think there are aliens. I think mathematically there has to be aliens. Come on. Like, but my point is I don't think that they would have any interest in us or being here, just because of the sheer distance between us and the odds of like, our planet is not unique. There is nothing fucking unique about Earth. Like, for us to be able to reach another planet, maybe, but for somebody that's sophisticated enough to come from another galaxy or another solar system here, there's plenty of other if they just want minerals and shit, go to the other planets. Why would they come here?
Yeah. Once we started really looking, and holy cow, how many Earth-like exoplanets have we found?
They're all over the place, man.
Just based on like the light flickering off their atmospheres and stuff. There's hundreds of them out there, and so like we're not.
Yeah, we're not unique. It's not like we're like Fort Knox and we have like, like, oh my God, we're the only planet in the universe that has water. Like, that was the big, aliens movie concept in the 80s and the 90s, was every movie was the aliens were coming to steal our water because every other planet was like barren of it. Now we found out that like every planet in our freaking solar system, including the moon, has water on it. Like, frozen water and stuff. It's like, it's not unique. It was unique back then, but now we know for sure that that's not unique at all. That water is like, like the third most abundant thing like in the universe.
Isn't there like I remember reading somewhere there's like a black hole or some, I want to say something along those lines, that is like ejecting trillions of gallons of water out of it just into space. It's like, water's not that crazy. It's really not like that.
Water's not special. It's literally why we run on it.
I mean,
it's the most abundant thing.
It's like, well, hydrogen, like the most abundant thing, right? Outside of, I mean, it's the most elemental element that we got, like, and then in oxygen, which is only what, like 8 steps higher, it's going to be out there quite a lot. It's pretty easy stuff.
Yeah, so I don't think, as much as I think humans like to romanticize the idea of like, oh, aliens would be like, oh my god, another sentient civilization and shit, dude. If you were so smart that you can build like, you know, freaking FDL drives and shit and like traverse space in a way that you could actually reach us, actually detect life here and get to us before it's extinct and eaten up by the sun. If you possess that technology to be able to do that and get here, we would literally be no more interesting to them than an ant is to us.
Yeah.
Like at that point, they're like, oh, isn't that cute? They built a little fucking like chemical rocket that can get them to like their next closest planet. Ha ha, lols. It'd be like your cat jumping from the bed to your dresser. You're like, how impressive is that? It's cute, but like, would you travel a million light years to see a cat jump to the dresser? No, like it'd be uninteresting to you.
And it would be, I've always liked the idea too that it would be something unmanned, the same way that we do probes and rovers and stuff to Mars. You wouldn't risk your people, whatever your people may be, or again, attributing human motivation to extraterrestrials, but like generally it would probably be, you would not risk members of your species without knowing what you were going into first, you know. And
plus it'd be really stupid to expose yourself to even lesser races, because the second that they know for sure that you exist and they can anticipate your capabilities, their entire trajectory is going to change the defending against you.
Yeah.
Because that's a trait for all animals, right? If something has an upper hand or becomes a threat, you have to do something to counter it. Like you that'll become your drive. So if aliens just showed up one day, you know, in FDL, whole fleet shows up in orbit or whatever, what do you think the first thing we're gonna do is? We're gonna be fucking launching nuclear missiles at them and shit. We're gonna be flipping out. We're gonna be doing that. We're gonna crash the suicide bomb the ISS into the side of them. Like, I mean, we will freak the fuck out. And the thing is, even if they do come down and say, oh yeah, we're totally peaceful, you guys are really quaint, we want to be your friends, even though like everything you do is stupid, what you're going to do is the second they leave, the military is going to be like, shit, they could literally stomp us in any millisecond. It'd be like what was that movie, something's game,
Ender's Game.
It'd be just like Ender's Game, right? It's like they'd come back and then they'd leave and you would just devote your entire existence to defeating them when they come back.
100%.
And so, you know, if nothing else, just to be on a level playing field. You know, and so I don't think that any species would be smart just to approach any level of civilization that was at like a level they could communicate with and be like, oh, hey, we're right here and this is what we can do. Because then that entire society is going to basically accelerate all of its resources in one direction to try to catch up. And they could actually become a legitimate threat 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 years down the road. And then they're forced to destroy you when they would have just left you alone before, because they're like, oh, shit, they're kind of getting powerful. And we really don't want that. And they're getting powerful too fast. They're not learning how to wield it properly. They're just trying to get the sword. They don't know what it does.
Yeah.
And I think that could be, and fuck, they can even probably destroy us. You know, we would take so many risks just to ensure our survival against them that we might inadvertently like light our own atmosphere on fire or something like that and take risks that we normally wouldn't do. Which is wild to think about. But today we got some more sponsors for the show, guys. Today's Tech Talk is now sponsored by Roar of the Tiger. He said Ward Carroll, F14RIO here on YouTube, agrees with you.
Yeah.
Ward Carroll. I swear I subscribe to that guy. Is that the dude that goes around and also like reviews the F-14 Tomcats on the ground? Like even when he's not flying them, he goes around and like shows them off. I think I subscribe to that guy.
Yeah.
Eric,
he's a former Tomcat RIO. I'm not
sure. Rio, which I think means wingman, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Radical intelligence officer.
If I know my Top Gun movie, I think Rio just means wingman. I might be wrong though.
Really interesting octogenarian.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I like acronyms. Stretching my vocabulary.
Eric G is now the sponsor of our channel. Eric G sponsored Tech Talk today. He said, hey guys, just wanted to throw in a few bucks. Love the content. Very entertaining on my long drives. Where are you driving to? Hopefully not to the desert to bury bodies, because that would be really awkward. And we got one more sponsor today that's not Raid Shadow Legends. Reviewing, playing, and more RPM. He said, showing themselves to us if they are advanced wouldn't pose a problem for them. Then again, it might. And then I got truncated. Hold on here.
Just be their Achilles heel and ignorance that gives up the upper hand.
Oh, then again, it might just be their Achilles heel. Got it. Oh my gosh. I just don't think they'd show themselves. I think it'd be like you trying to like impress a squirrel.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, maybe there's like a guy that wants to, like, I'm sure there's the one guy out there that wants to be like the squirrel whisperer and shit. But I think that he'd be the exception, not the rule. Like he'd fly here and just observe, right? He's not going to, unless he wants to come down and just start like vaporizing people with his ray guns and shit for fun. And I could see that happening too, which is another reason why, quite frankly, I don't want aliens coming here. like, because just think about that. It's like, what if you get the one asshole, right? What if you get the one asshole from the planet that's like a trophy hunter? And just like you go to Africa to kill like a fucking endangered elephant, you know, it's like Predator, right? The Predator, as stupid as the, you know, premise is, it actually does kind of make sense. It's like if trophy hunting is a thing that naturally develops in societies that are the survival of the fittest, which you become the survival of the fittest by killing the things that threaten you, it would stand to reason that other civilizations would also either develop on two paths. They would develop on a path where intellect would override instinct, or they would develop on a path where they kept the instinct alive. And they use their technological capabilities and everything to reinforce their instincts. And if they did that, then you're going to basically have intergalactic trophy hunters that if they could easily pop on over here to Earth and pick off a couple of humans and, you know, they got the tags for them and everything legally, they'd do it. And that could literally be a business. And they may not even be able to communicate with us. That's the other common misconception is just because, you know, NASA has always said that, listen, if you had two civilizations that were capable of creating these great technologies, that they would be able to communicate through math because it's a universal constant. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though, is like, even though math is a universal constant, we don't understand mathematics on a level because we learn new things all the time, right? There's certain things that we reinforce, like the standard model. We find the Higgs boson, and now we can explain that we got that one right. But we get shit wrong all the time, and we have to like refine our calculations and figure something out. Who's to say that there isn't some other civilization that's so much more advanced than us that our math makes no sense to them because it's absolute gibberish because every single part of it has been completely disproven and it's fucking useless on any level to them.
Right.
You know, it's like that could totally happen.
There's still basics that like are immutable, right? That should translate no matter what. Prime numbers, right? As an example, if you just started beeping out 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 13, or you know, blah blah blah, like you keep the first 10 prime numbers and you just beeped those out. Somebody who, regardless of their like counting system, right? Say because we have a base 10 mostly because we have 10 fingers. So like, let's say, you know, they're octopuses or something, right? And they have their 8 limbs and no fingers. So they probably do like an 8, base 8 or something. It's still, the symbols aren't important, right? If you, regardless of the base system, if you still beeped those out, like they would get it. They would go, oh, those are prime numbers. Those are like a mathematical constant. Those are a basic concept of math, and like, oh, they must know a little bit.
Pattern recognition, maybe, but I still think that that's even an assumption. Like, think about it. I mean, based on humans, right, and how we operate and how life on our planet, we still don't even know if there's other life out there that's not biological. Sure. We may encounter life that's based on completely different elemental science, right? And what if they never? What if math was something, or patterns were something that they never even really cared about because they had instinctive abilities that allowed them to do shit like propel themselves through space and stuff like that. Like they're a spacefaring, you know, fucking giant organic ship thing moving through space, and it's like they've never even given a shit about math because they already just possess the ability to do it intuitively, so they've never questioned it. See, it's funny because people will be quick to say shit like, you know, oh, no, because we're humans, obviously they're going to recognize that, they're going to figure that out. But no, that's a huge assumption. Everything that we say is an assumption when you're factoring in the unknown.
Yeah. I mean,
and even though I do believe that like math should be the universal constant, if we found life that was even discernibly similar to us in any way, shape, or form, then odds are, and they evolved on a similar path, that they would be able to figure out mathematics. But my point being is we know about math and patterns because that's something that was required for our survival. What if you were life that was founded on a planet that had literally no competition, and you literally just evolved as like the sole creature without needing any kind of weapons or anything like that, but you also possess the capability of, you know, surviving in space, surviving in a vacuum? or traveling faster than light, because the method of propulsion that we would have to create to do that, they just innately have genetically or as a part of their genome. I'm just saying that there's situations where they may not understand patterns as well as we do because they never had to, because everything that they had was an instinct rather than intellect.
And I feel though, like at some point, and again, we're attributing human motivation and thought process to something completely, this hypothetical alien, so it doesn't necessarily mesh one to one, but like even our most instinctual stuff, we have, as we've advanced, like looked into it and tried to understand like where it comes from and why we operate the way we do, things like that. And so I feel like if we're talking about a creature that, so like if you're talking more like some sort of animal, like something that doesn't have a certain level of like sentience, then like space whales. Somebody mentioned space whales, right? Where maybe there's just like a creature that exists in outer space that travels between the stars like on its own. Then yeah, they probably, you know, they're just like a whale that travels around and eats space dust on their way between different stars and stuff. Then yeah, they may not have like a concept for math and things like that, because they're just doing any more than a horse can learn calculus, right? So like in that sense, sure. But if they got to a point where it was like deliberate, if a sort of a creature got to a point where their like advancement mentally, I suppose, got to a point where they were like, oh, I'm going to go over there because I'm curious, not just because like I'm hungry or base instinct level. I feel like they would eventually start looking inward and trying to figure out, okay, yeah, if I fart real big, I can pop over to this other star like really fast. And they would start to investigate themselves and like, okay, how is it that I'm able to do that? Just in the same way that like, it took us a long time to figure out, oh, what's the appendix really for? Like, this is dumb. Oh, well, it's a leftover from when we were shitting our brains out every half day because we were eating weird berries and stuff, and we needed a little piece of something to like rebuild our gut biome. It took us a while to figure that out. Similar sort of thing. Like, man, how is it that all of us space whales are able to fart 1,000,000 miles a second? You start looking inward and trying to figure that stuff out. And I feel like at some point you would run into a concept of having to use some sort of structure to define these things. And at some point that's going to be math, whether you call it that or not. There's like fundamental ways of, and again, all of this is because of how we are able to interpret and filter like the data around us. So
I mean, to be fair, I do agree that math is our best shot.
Yeah,
I do agree math is our best shot because math for us, we've been able to prove things using math, that just in theory, and then realize that using the same math.
Right.
So we're fairly certain that we got it right. Like the math as we understand it. And I totally get what you're saying about like the space whales or whatever. They can just like fucking fart and fly across the galaxy. They're probably not going to investigate warp drive because who gives a shit, because they already possess it naturally. Right. It'd be like humans like trying to put a shitload of effort into figuring out why we shit. Right. I'm sure we did at some point out of a curiosity, but it's like you're going to shit one way or another. It doesn't, unless you're trying to optimize your shit or make your shit like, invent pills that you eat to make your shit more efficient or something like that. There's really no reason. Right. There's just certain things that are innate things that happen that are instinct that you don't really need to investigate unless it's something that you have a curiosity about. The other thing is you also have to assume, does all life have an innate curiosity?
Sort of, I would think so, because like it's important to like go over there, right? In order to perpetuate yourself.
But what if you just exist as like a dumb like water bear that just eats whatever's in proximity to you, and then when nothing's in proximity, you just hibernate and wait for more shit to be in proximity to you? Like, you just don't take the risk.
That's a completely viable, like, yeah.
So the point I'm making is it's completely theoretical. Like, I'm not saying that this is one way or the other. I'm just saying that I think that one of the things we have to be prepared for if we're exploring space is that some of our theories are wrong. Like, they could be straight up wrong. Like, we could encounter life that makes no fucking sense to us at all. Like, literally, we cannot even comprehend how the hell it even exists or moves or communicates. Like literally a ball of gas that's sentient or something, and be like, what the fuck is this? Like, I mean, and it could mathematically make sense, but that math could be well beyond us.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah,
it also could be the other thing too, where it's like, if the math is too simple, like if the patterns that we're having are just too damn simple in the vastness of the universe, those patterns may exist on enough of a level that they might just be ignored. Like, even if it's a pattern that's like 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, there could be like a million other things in the galaxy that create that pattern exactly that we haven't discovered yet, just because how infinite the universe is. And it may just be, to somebody that's explored more of the universe, something that's completely insignificant and just background noise.
Sure.
So I'm just saying that we shouldn't make assumptions. Like, we really shouldn't make assumptions. And there were some people in chat that were like giving me shit about that. I was like, oh no, math, you're full of shit. Math is the universal constant. No, it is to us. We've never discovered any other life that exists off of this planet to have a point of reference or a base of comparison. Everything that's evolved here evolved because of the conditions of this specific planet and this specific solar system, and its space from the sun, its magnetic shield. All these things contributed to how all life on Earth shares some basic genetic code. Like, we're all based in, we're all biological organisms that have DNA. Like, as far as I know, there's no life that's been discovered on Earth, whether it be, animal or plant, that does not possess DNA. Like, that is the fundamental building blocks, right, of life. Amino acids and chemical electricity. These are things that all things share. But is that a universal constant? We can make that assumption, but there may be entirely different planets that are entirely different, conditions, size, gravity, radiation, that could evolve an entirely different part of life that we can't even conceive, because we don't literally even possess the minerals or the elements, because there's an infinite number of elements, right? Like, you can literally make any element, stable or unstable. If you possess the power and the technology, you could make any element you wanted, name it whatever you want. You could have 10,000 fucking like neutrons and electrons floating around, an outer core and stuff, and create some situation or some environment where you can make that exist for a fraction of a second or a billion years. But do you possess the technology to do that? And why would you? Right? It's like you have to have a reason for it. Well, there might be, the periodic table for the aliens that can fly through space probably makes ours look like, ours is like one page. Theirs is probably an entire book. Right. And so when they see something floating through space that looks like fucking Voyager 1 or whatever, and another thing too is you got to take size into account too. This is another thing I thought about greatly, is the whole inner space thing. It's like the cells inside of your body are just microscopic life forms doing a thing, right? Like, to them, we're the planet, right? They're not aware of us. They don't know what we're doing. They're just doing their job, right? They're living inside of us doing their thing. Same thing with parasites and shit like that, right? They're just doing their thing. They're living off the land. Who's to say that the aliens that we start looking out into the universe and stuff, with just the massive changes in sizes and planets and distances from their sun and stuff, that we don't encounter life that is so freaking big or so microscopically small that it may not even be able to perceive the shit that we're putting out there, or even see us as life form? We could literally be bacteria. They might have to be on top of us to literally even know that we exist, because we're just we give off such a faint life sign. And even our entire planet is just so small, they see us as little more than a moon. Like not even, like, they're like, oh, that's bacteria on the surface. It'd be like if we went to a planet, we found bacteria on Mars. To them, at their scale and how they operate, they may very well come to our planet and go, oh man, this ain't shit. Or they may be tiny. They may be tiny little fucking microscopic life forms or whatever that possess the ability to travel here, because we associate density of matter in your brain for your intelligence, but that may not be true for all life.
Yeah. And like there've been talk too about like there could be intelligent life that just never needed or was able to leave their planet. Like imagine there's like Earth-like exoplanets that have a huge gravity, right? Huge. They're monsters. They're gigantic fucking planets that are very much like ours. Hey,
look at this guy. Look at this guy down here showing up.
The guy we needed for our alien talk.
Yeah, we're talking about aliens.
I need an alien. I think an alien is in charge of my schedule.
No, I just think that you're an ADHD driven doofus like me that literally forgets absolutely everything every 10 minutes.
9 months in the making. Like I had like that invite for like 9 months, and it was my sister's.
I would have.
Anyways, whatever. What do you guys? You talking about aliens?
Yeah. Well, tell your brother-in-law it was very inconsiderate of him 9 months ago not pulling out, because it ruined our day.
Who gets knocked up? Who gets knocked up in a pandemic?
Pandemic baby.
Pandemic baby. Man, it is a cute baby. It's like
You say that.
You have
no,
to say
really,
that,
like
but
it's no, like this one actually looks like a Gerber baby. Ours looked like a freaking frog that lost a chin. I mean, ours, like Baz just looked ridiculous, but
Baz
this kid
upstairs
is
like shedding a tear right now as he's watching this. Oh, Daddy, I thought
he's such a teenager. He doesn't want to know he was ever a child.
Right?
He doesn't want to know. How are you guys doing? I feel
Good,
like it's
man.
been for freaking ever.
It has. It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. It's good that you showed up because we were really getting far out there, man. We need somebody to rein us in.
Oh yeah, and I'm exactly the person for that. Way to bring you back on topic again.
Let's make it worse. Oh, hold on. We got. I forgot. We have some sponsors today. Today's sponsor. We're just saying everybody that gives us a super chat is a sponsor today. By the way,
nice.
So Ed T is sponsoring us yet again with $1, and then Karina Freeman is now sponsoring Tech Talk. She said, "Happy to see you both, smiley face." Well, it's happy to see you too, Karina. Thank you for the support. And then our last sponsor today is Eric G. Thank you for that $5. He said, "Drove home today, but I drive everywhere in the country. I'm a truck driver."
Woo.
Being a truck driver would actually be kind of fun, I think.
I feel like that would be as long as you don't have to drive through the city.
Oh, that would suck so bad.
Yeah, trying to get through a city. Oh man, forget it.
Yeah, I wonder if they should do it like cruise ships where you have pilots, like you're just one driver, you're the freeway driver that just drives for 14 hours, and then you pull into like a truck stop, and then like the pilot comes out and gets in and takes it into the city.
That's when you go autonomous.
There you go. That'd
be the way to go. Yeah.
So how you been, buddy? Man, I heard you got the upgraded firmware in your veins now to be COVID resistant.
I am. Yes, I'm almost there. I've got like a week left, and then I'm.
Which one are you getting? What shot?
Oh, we got the cheap ass one because it's Canada, right? We got whatever's left. No, we got what's it called? The AstraZenecas.
Oh, you got the one every other country rejected.
Yeah, exactly. That's us. That's like, what do you got, eh?
You guys are gonna grow a third arm.
Oh, thanks, eh? Thanks for your old vaccines, eh? Literally. So I get jabbed this time around, and the guy goes like, oh yeah, you're lucky, eh? Because these things expired like yesterday. I was like, what? He's like, oh no, it's okay. They extended it to Monday. I was like, what? And he's like, fuck. I'm like, ah!
I didn't realize expiration dates worked like that. You're just like, he smells it. He's like, no, it's good.
It's like a best before. We highly advise you not to use it before, but you can still use it. Yeah. So we did. So I got that, and that was organized. That was actually, and the only reason why I got that was because of filming. They've got like this COVID team. The COVID team is also sitting there on the internet, like looking for any like leftover vaccines. And they throw us at it so they can make us work. You know what I mean? So
what's weird is I feel like early in COVID, Canada was kind of like on the ball. I thought like at the beginning of all this, it seemed like Canada was the one that was like making all the right moves and everything.
You know why? Because we do what we're told. We do what we're told, right? Man. We're all like so polite, right? We're all like, oh, so we're not supposed to go out. Okay. And also, yeah, I think that's like one of my favorite stories is a friend of mine, and there was like a riot in Toronto. They were like, it was like years and years ago. And it was like, I don't even remember what it was about, but there was like supposedly a riot, like where one person threw a brick through a window or something. And they declared a riot. That's it. Shut the city down. And yeah. And so it's like, everybody report, everyone go home. So the place is empty. My friend and I are out walking and we get to a stoplight and there's no cars, there's no people, but it's a red light. And we found ourselves standing for a bit. And suddenly I went, what the hell are we doing? Like we're standing waiting for like a green light to walk across the street. And it wasn't just us. It was like us and like a couple other people just standing there waiting. I was like, we're in the middle of a riot. What are we doing? Ban rules like this. But that to me, that was like Canada in the pandemic. We're like, okay. We were also like that guy in
it's crazy.
What's it called? In Austin Powers. Remember the guy getting run over by the electric vehicle? Where it's
yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
He's like 20 feet away at 1 mile an hour.
And that was us just waiting. Finally, it hit us. So, yeah, we've not handled it well from here. We started off well, but
because I figured I thought that I was gonna have to like drive to Canada to get the shot. Like I was surprised that it actually was the exact opposite.
Yeah.
But now it's go to Canada if you want like the expired AstraZeneca. Well, at least it's free though, right? I mean, well, down here it's free too because we lucked out on that one.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll end up paying for it though. How much
we're gonna pay?
They're just gonna attack it under our tax at the end of the year.
Dude, the amount of tax we pay up here, I mean, like we've had like what is socialized medicine for God knows how long, and it's one of those things that they keep clawing back what they do. So there's so we're covered, but there's certain things that don't get covered. So I'm waiting to see what the bill is going to be on this one because I have a feeling it could be quite extensive for all of us, But I'll take it. I figured whatever vaccine they got, I'd take it. That's fine. It was worse the second one. Did you guys find the second jab a little worse than the first?
Surprisingly, I did all right on both of them. I just got a headache and some fatigue for like a day or two, and it was exactly the same with both shots.
Oh, really? My second day, I was much more tired and a lot more achy. That was mine.
Well, it's probably because it was expired and it was like congealing in your veins. And
that's it. That's
the active component in it, like literally, like evaporated the day before.
Yeah, I've just basically, yeah.
Did he also tell you that it was left out on the counter for like 4 days before he ejected? He's like, oh man, the fridge got unplugged.
Put that needle. Where's that needle? Damn it! Oh, there it is. Oh, just wipe it off, and then there you go. Yeah.
Did you hear about that? That actually happened down here. Like somebody like took a bunch of doses out of a fridge and didn't put them back. Like they took too many out and they didn't put any back. And so they ended up like injecting, I think it was 60 people before they figured it out, with vaccine that was completely inert. Like it was dead. It was the one that had to be like cryogenically frozen and then thawed out for 6 hours or whatever. Then after 6 hours, its efficacy goes to zero. Like it literally, whatever's in it is inactive. And so they injected like 60 people and I'd like call them back. And then they're like, well, we don't know if we can give you another shot because, we don't have any testing data for what happens when we inject you with something that doesn't work. And, with all the compounds and everything, what happens if we inject you a second time? So now those people have to wait like 6 months to get vaccinated again.
Again, not a reason not to get it. Why now, Ox? Was it not available? Are you holding off, or what's your?
Just kind of waiting a bit.
Yeah.
Just I'm not. It's. I feel I pulled in like two different directions. Like on the one hand, I'm very much like supporter of medical science. I think that's like one of the best things like that humanity does. We're really, really good at these sorts of things. I understand that the mRNA thing is like kind of new. It's like it's like, oh, this is a big deal. And so like that gives me a little pause. Like I know it's not like, oh, it's not altering your DNA and like all this crazy shit like that. But like it's kind of a new method. I don't know. This just gives me pause. Is all.
Are you like a vaccine guy generally? I mean, do you generally do vaccines, or do you hold off on stuff on that?
No. I'm all about it. I don't get like.
No, I'm not saying are you an anti-vaxxer. I'm saying like, are you but I mean, you're generally
like polio, measles, that kind of thing. Those things like those work, and I feel like part of it is because like I don't totally understand how this new process is.
They need to do a better job of like dumbing it down.
Like I've gotten the gist part of it, like, oh, it's a blueprint for the spike, right? It's not like the old school style.
I think the AstraZeneca is like the old school style, isn't it?
Yeah. I know one of them is
it's like, not an mine's not an RMNA. I was really disappointed because I wanted the RMNA. The M&M was one.
And so I don't know. It's just a little bit gives me pause. It's super.
I thought you got vaccinated. You're not vaccinated yet?
No, I mean I could anytime. I can just walk down to the pharmacy.
I didn't even know you could travel and like go down to Mexico and stuff without a vaccine.
Just testing. Just as long as you're negative testing and stuff. Yeah.
I mean the testing goes a long way. I don't know. I mean there's always a part of me that goes like, is it a bit rushed? But everything I heard was just like. It made sense to me to just get it done. I just figured like, I trust him on everything else. I figured I'd trust him on this as well. I realized there could be some issues potentially because it is a short, they've turned it around pretty freaking quickly. But everyone I talked to said, who seemed to understand it more than I do.
I look at it from a software developer perspective. I do. It's like if they fuck up and they put the wrong RNA codon sequence in there, they just throw another CRISPR in there and put the old one back, like restore.
It's kind of like it's I'm that's why I'm kind of pulled in two different directions. Like I believe and like I'm confident that like this isn't just some smoke and mirrors pharma conspiracy thing. Like
it's too global. It's like the internet would immediately expose it if it was that. Yeah.
Like for one, these were like in part this was like done in like Germany and Turkey, right? The main core of all of this, and so it's not like big pharma out to get you, And I get that part.
Although big pharma, I don't know if they're out to get you, but they'll sure take your money.
Right.
Well, just remember, big pharma needs you to live. You're worth nothing to them dead.
Well, right? Like, and that's where it's like, is this more treatment? Is this going to be like the flu shot where like
I think we're going to need boosters. We're going to need boosters.
We will. Yeah. There's unfortunately mRNA doesn't solve that problem. Like
we're still doing testing. We're still getting tested anyways. Like so, even though I've got the double vax, I still get tested on stuff. I figured like, you know what, the risks of the vaccine are far less than the risks of the actual COVID. I mean, COVID can
and that's kind of where I'm at too. Yeah. Is like.
The way I look at it is it's exactly this the end product, like the testing of your DNA of your cell after you get the mRNA virus is virtually the same as if you have the dead virus in your body and you mount an attack and you get the antibodies.
That's kind of what I've gotten. Yeah.
They're saying the mix is the best. If you can get like 2 different types of shots, you get like extra. Because I was hoping to get
from different
get the Pfizer as well as the AstraZeneca thing. But
the weird thing is they're all based on the same core code, the DNA or RNA codon sequence that they replace.
Mm-hmm.
That it's the same like across.
They're all going for that
minus
spike.
A couple codons at the beginning and the end, which are just like a little bit of variation in the production of it.
Right. They're all going for the spike. They're aiming for that spike. If they can get that, they're done. The funny thing is, I feel like I'm slightly less scared of a conspiracy of humans than a conspiracy of viruses, if that makes sense. Like I feel like the underlying motives of the virus are definitely more dangerous to me than the underlying motives of any government or medical stuff. So plus Canada's last to the trough on this stuff, right? So we've had, admittedly, we're getting the AstraZeneca, but it's after everyone else has already had a kick at it, basically.
Right.
So, Baz got one. Baz got his first shot the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're waiting for the lower the age. Xander's 1 year under when he can get it, so we're waiting. He's not going back to school after summer unless he's vaccinated.
Yeah.
All right.
So we got to be like extra safe with that stuff.
We're not going back this year. They said no school this year. We're done.
Oh, you guys doing remote learning again?
We're still locked down. Toronto is still locked down. Like they've got rid of the restrictions for some of the personal stuff, but all of the businesses are still in like full freaking lockdown.
Yeah, life is eerily returning back to normal here. Like I went outside yesterday, I sat on my porch, and there's just groups of kids walking back and forth in the street, having a good old time, parks raging. Like
there always have been here, though. That's the problem.
Really?
Yeah, our parks are, man, and it's all teenagers. Like Baz is like so funny. He's like such an old man, like his dad. He's just like, kids. Because there's all these like 17, 18-year-olds, right, who are just like, just getting stoned in the park together. But literally like passing the joint around. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you guys like? So stupid. The youth is so wasted on the stupid.
Yeah, I guess the way I look at this whole thing is like, I need to be protected because we live in a world where technology enables us to do things that we wouldn't otherwise be able to do naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And so that puts us at greater exposure for things like this. So like medical technology is like critical to survival now. It never used to be. If you could just live out in the woods by yourself and everybody that you were exposed to all had the same exposures and the same experiences and ate the same animals and foods and stuff, you would have a group of people that would either all live together or all die together, right? I mean, if they get poisoned or spread it throughout, they all die, but they don't take out everybody else. The problem is today, everybody can travel everywhere. It's like Ox can fly to Mexico. You can fly to Europe. You can fly to Canada. You can do all this stuff within a relatively small period of time. So if you're carrying a pathogen of some kind, you can spread it to tens of thousands of people through the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon before it's run its course through your system and you've built the antibodies if you've successfully defeated it. And so it's basically like you're just going around and just dropping little poison pills and you don't see it's like bombers flying over and dropping bombs on an area. They don't see the people they kill, right? So you don't, it's in the back of your mind. And because of that, I'm like, it is my responsibility to get vaccinated. Now, I do agree that people, like, if you have a fear of it or something like that, you should definitely keep gathering information and try to satiate, and remove that fear.
Yeah.
And through knowledge. But at the same time, you have to also weigh the pros and the cons of it. You can't look at it like, I'm just afraid of it because of this. It's like, look at the alternative, though. If we don't get enough people vaccinated and this thing starts mutating, which it already has, we're on like strain 4 now. Now there's an Indian strain that they're saying is actually showing some resistance.
You mean the Delta strain? We stopped calling them. I thought that was smart though to stop calling it countries because it is true. Causes,
it is true.
We
should just call it what it is because it doesn't matter where the hell it popped up. It really doesn't in the grand scheme of things. It's a pathogen and everybody travels everywhere. So as far as viruses are concerned, it doesn't give a shit if they started in the Arctic or in California. They're going to get to another location. That's a given.
Are you getting flack at all for not getting vaccinated? I mean, do you get like do people bug you about it or what?
No, it seems to be fairly people just tend to leave it to personal choice and stuff.
Right.
The folks that I associate with are on, they are making their choices one way or the other, and like whatever, for the most part.
I mean, I think it has to be, right? I mean, much as I'd love everyone to just get sort of like strapped down and jabbed so I don't have to worry about it, I do feel like it's important that people make their own mind up on these things.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, like you don't want to feel coerced to do any of this kind of stuff.
Right.
It's funny though. So you want to hear ironic here. And I don't think it's ironic like like the Isn't It Ironic song, but I cycled to get my second jab. So I took the bike. And my bike was stolen earlier in the year, so I've got my dad's old bike. So I look like the nutty old professor on this like ancient old bike that's like rattling and squeaking all the way there. And I get halfway there, and I'm going to be late because there's such a huge back. I'm on a bicycle, and I can't get through. Why? Because there's an anti-vax, anti-shutdown rally going down the street that I'm on. Yeah. So I get stuck, and I'm like, why is it getting so busy in this? Hey, no one's wearing a mask. What's going on? By the end of it, I'm literally swearing at people. Like I'm literally like, get the fuck out of the bike lane. Fuck you. Like I was on this bike, like this crazy old man, because I was just like, I can't believe I'm going to be late for my vaccine shot because these assholes are on the street. And it's such a combination of people. Look, again, I got no problem with public protest. By all means, you think there's an issue, whatever, that's fine. But don't don't obstruct. It was just an obstructive thing. It got to the point where literally there's like little old ladies. And I'm like, "Fuck you!" As I'm trying to get past them in the bike lane. I was like, "Yeah, anti-vax, get the fuck out of the bike lane."
And I never understood that. It's like if you're gonna fight for something, like protest in the area where it actually directly targets the people that affect you.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna protest, do it there. It's like blocking a freeway with like 1 million people that need to get somewhere, especially people that need to get like medically somewhere. Because inevitably, if you block 100 cars, one of them is somebody trying to get to the hospital because they're fucking dying. I mean, just statistically. And it's like just blocking that. It's like, what are you achieving other than creating the spectacle? Like there's other ways.
That's the point.
But what do you do? How do you protest though? Like, how do you protest? So interesting conversation today I had with Baz was about Tiananmen Square and how it's dropping down the search, and Bing has just got rid of it or whatever. Like Bing basically took it out of the search, took the image out of their search for China or whatever. And you start going like, well, how do you protest though? Like, how does one, I understand, like from the perspective of the people who are anti-vax, which I don't agree with. I think it's misinformed, but if you have a legitimate concern about the government, like, well, Black Lives Matter, perfect example. Okay. So they get a legitimate concern about the way they're being treated. They need to protest. Is that like, do we still do that? Like, should we still do that? Because I was torn on that during the pandemic too. Like, should we be doing these freaking, marches in the middle of a, pandemic? Excuse me. He says that's just the AstraZeneca trying to get out.
It was like a perfect storm, though. It was, that part of things was just like the right time at the right place kind of thing. There's a bunch of people who have nothing better to do, who aren't distracted by trying to survive. You basically, live. You got when most of the population is just barely trying to make it through the day, right? Just work to live, hope for the best, and I got to pay rent and put food on the table. But now, a year ago, I have to be at home. I can't go to work. I'm getting subsistence level from the government. Now, now I can actually look around and see what the fuck is going on here. And like, this ain't the way I want things to be. And so what else are you supposed to do? Like when anybody, like think about even on a micro level, a worker strike.
Yeah.
Right? Is that not a form of protest on its own?
Yeah.
Is that not the same kind of thing as marching down the street, blocking freeways and shit to get your voice heard? Because at some point, eventually, enough is enough. And you have to do something big, something spectacular in order to be heard, to be seen. And yeah, you know what? It sucks. It sucks to be blocking the freeway for folk trying to get to work or whatever in the hospital and the fucking.
But to get heard, you need it.
When people have been ignoring other folk dying in the streets and being ignored for everything that they've been trying to say, what else? I mean, every revolution started with people just kind of complaining, saying, hey, we don't like it this way. And when the people who can make the change don't listen enough, then what else are the plebs supposed to do?
Yeah, it's funny because the only protest I went to a couple of protests when I was younger. I think it was more of a date thing, but I remember going to one, and I went, and someone came up to me and said, "Oh, so you here for the communist rally?" I was like, "No, I'm not. What are you talking about? No." and then I went up there to another thing, and they were like, "Oh, you here for the Workers Unite?" I'm like, "No, what the? I'm here for the thing saying we don't want a war and wherever." And they're like, "Oh, that's over there." And it was like it got co-opted, and it was supposed to be a peaceful demonstration that went down, our main street here, Young Street here, and I got my bicycle. Everyone's walking along. All of a sudden, someone starts blowing this like whistle, and everyone drops and lies down on the ground and starts obstructing the traffic. Right? Yeah. And I'm standing. I didn't know. I'm like standing there. I've got a bicycle. I'm like, what the hell do I do? So I'm like, excuse me, pardon me, excuse me. trying to tiptoe through this like sea of people to get out of the way, and the police start coming in and start like moving people along. Right? Yeah. I'm like, I'm not with them. I just want to get my bicycle out of here. I just found it so. It was so easily co-opted by other people and other things. At the same time, what else are you going to do? I guess a cyber protest, that could be interesting, especially with the tools available now.
Yeah, that's something, I guess. It all ends up coming down to like there's like a point where you have to you end up there's no other choice but to like bite back.
Yeah. I wonder what that is though. Like I don't even know I don't know where I am on that.
This is the weird thing is like this is one of those things where you have to take a step back and play devil's advocate and say it's always going to change depending on your perspective. Yeah. So if something affects you, then you're going to be against it. If something makes life better for you, you're going to be for it. Generally speaking, but here's the thing: the only way you're going to
unless it's in your backyard.
Exactly. If it's like, these people that are protesting, that are blocking like freeways and stuff like that and getting people killed and things like this, to try to get their message out. The second that shit is in front of their house and causes their mom to die or their son to die, now all of a sudden they're gonna be like, shit, we took things too far. Nobody else is going to believe that though, because they haven't been affected yet. It's same thing with the internet. Like when people DDoS attack and take down entire infrastructures and entire internet things go down, right? Federal offense, right? They're looking for them. Nobody can access the internet. Nothing works. Everybody's cut off from everything, cut off from their work, cut off from stuff like that. And it's like, how is that any different than blocking every single freeway and not allowing anybody to travel anywhere or get to where they need to go?
Have you guys been listening to that Darknet Diaries at all?
I haven't. No.
Yet. I think you'd really like it. I'm blown away by it. I'm still going through it, and there's some of them I'll go back and listen to again because there's just so much information. But one of the things they've just come up against is some form of cyber terrorism, which was basically just trying to shut down the safety protocols in a petrochemical plant, where this was specifically targeted. The idea was to kill people, and that eventually these basically a cyber protest could become a cyber attack. I mean, it's already possible.
Yeah, like a militant revolution or something, like with actual violence and. Yeah, it's the thing is, some people are saying, well, sometimes you have to go to that level to like, initiate change, like, and that's an argument. And I would argue that, there is a situation if the government, had full autonomy over us and told us exactly what to do. And everybody is the majority wanted to fight back. Well, you'd have a civil war, right? That's what would happen. And people would die.
But that's the vote. The hope is to vote.
The hope is the vote. Yeah. It's like the majority rules basically is what it comes down to. The majority wins.
Look, that was the other thing that drove me crazy. I would get into arguments with people. Again, back in the young days when I thought I could make a difference by being in protests, or get dates. I remember having arguments with people because I'd be like, what do you mean you don't vote? Yeah, there's no point in voting, man. It's like, I'm not going to vote the man. It's their system, man. I'm like, no, if you don't vote, you have no right to be out here protesting. Like none at all. Like, forget it. You know what I mean? Like,
that part I get is like, I'm not going to participate in your system. That's my protest. It's like, but you not participating in the system is exactly why you're not getting the result that you want, because you just convinced a bunch of other people to also not participate in the system and giving you less what you want. And
it's like, I don't pay taxes because I don't want to support the war machine. I'm like, really? Or do you just don't want to pay taxes? I mean, like that's,
Yeah, but it's like we get mad at sometimes, like when people protest and all the schools shut down or whatever. It's like from the teacher's perspective, they want a fair wage. So they'll go hold the line, right? But then from everybody else's perspective, we're like, we pay tax dollars so our kids get educated so they can grow up and go get a job and pay your fucking salary. And so it's like that on the outside, some people are like, this is bullshit because you agreed to do your job and you agreed to do it for that money in the beginning. Things changed. But also you have to kind of get out of your own shell and say, listen for a second. It's like they have to live too and have a good quality of life, because if they don't, they're going to train your kids are going to be educated like shit. So you need teachers to be better paid, and you need teachers to have better benefits and stuff like that.
They should be rock stars. I mean,
they absolutely should.
They should be like the highest paid.
It
used to be the greatest honor in the world to be a teacher, and now it's like you fail into it. I don't understand what I'm not saying. I'm sorry, that's not a blanket statement about teaching, but it feels to me like it's like, well, if it doesn't work out in acting, you could teach acting. It's like, no, you should want to teach acting. Yeah. Like that should, if that's what you want to do, you shouldn't be doing it because you can't do it in the real world. I mean, it's like one of those things that I feel like you should make it far more competitive and far better paid, and the problem is solved right there. You're gonna have every freaking teacher is gonna be the best teacher ever because they're gonna be frantic to keep that fantastic salaried position that they've got and stuff.
Just look at our education standing in the world. Like every country that's better educated with us than us, they all pay their teachers more. They all give their teachers more benefits, and their teachers even like accredited and awarded and held up as a very, very important job. Like here in the United States, it's like, oh, I'm a grade school teacher. Oh, so fucking what? You couldn't be the bus driver? It's like people literally like, oh, you're just basically a babysitter. No bullshit. I watched what my son goes through, like learning at home for the last year. It's like these teachers, they put a lot of passion into it. Like you don't become a teacher to make money. You become a teacher because you want to teach, right? You want to educate people and mold minds. And what you teach that child when they're young massively influences how they learn when they're older. Like if you don't build that foundation, you are setting that kid up for failure hardcore. And that's why I feel bad. Like growing up, I had a lot of bad teachers that didn't know how to teach me, didn't know how to reach me, really lazy, right? Yeah. And it showed. I was like literally in special ed, like eating glue and shit because the teachers were like, this kid, because I nobody would help me.
It also tastes good.
It does taste. I mean, glue is absolutely delicious. But
I think the system breaks both sides of it. It breaks the kids' curiosity and love of learning, and it also breaks the teachers. It's just so frustrating for them as well.
Yeah, the whole path is super weird to me.
Burn it all down. Let's take to the streets, people.
Look, man, we haven't really like looked at the education system since what, like the 50s or something. Like
I don't feel like we have
the same way.
Well, there have been changes. I mean, there have been changes, but I think the problem is there's an institution there that is it's as slow as the government to change, right? I mean, it just, and the other problem with school is that once your kids get out of that grade, your concern is the next grade, and once they're out of school, your concern is university. You don't go back and start looking at the school stuff. That's why I started doing the Tech Bandit stuff, was I realized that all of my concerns about my kid when he's like from ages 10 to 16 are going to disappear as soon as he's out of there. Yeah. And same thing for all the parents involved. So if there's a way of setting something up for that little zone there where, like, to me, the critical time for them to just decide whether they want to be something exciting when they grow up.
It bothers me so much that the entire thing isn't really built for learning. It's like it's I don't know where we got caught up in like the standardized testing and like the just, I don't know, the way things are taught. Even
I think it's all well-meaning.
It's so weird to me that like I don't know, like I always liked the way my math teacher thought about like cheating, right? He'd have students come telling him, oh, little Jeannie like copied her homework from Tim or whatever. He's like, I don't care. Like, I don't care if you guys are copying assignments and stuff. Like, that's not the point. Like, it'll all come out in the wash when we do the test. Like, and man, I don't know. There's so much about it that I don't like about our public school system. Like for me, I hate it.
But it's private too. I mean, honestly, the private has a lot of problems as well. We're putting Baz back. Baz is going back to public now. Right. I mean, I don't know. Because I always wanted him in public school. I didn't want him in private school.
So weird. It just with the way like you're not supposed to collaborate, right? Like, I mean, kids are doing it anyway. I've walked in on a teenager working on assignments with,
oh my God, there's like 5 kids at the same time. Yeah.
But like, shouldn't that be the point? Like no, the idea shouldn't be to know everything. The idea should be about how to find answers, critical thinking, to not just copy a lot like, oh, here's the question and you'll find the exact answer like in the book, like because it's like the next sentence basically, and things like that. It's and pushing kids to like have their like 100-year lives figured out at 18 is outrageous. You know, these teenagers are sweating from 7th grade. They're already thinking about how am I going to get into college, and I don't even know what I want to do. My teenagers' idea of what they want to do has changed like 3 times in just the last 5 years.
That's kids, man.
And well, that's just bad parenting, Ox.
Totally ridiculous. How dare your son not want to do exactly what you do?
Man, teenager puts all kinds of pressure on herself to get like top marks all the time. She's like stayed in from lunch to like redo tests and stuff because she got like a B minus, all this stuff. And that's like from her own, that's like from the inside. I'm telling her, look, school, I mean, my lady doesn't appreciate me saying this sort of thing, but school's not that big a deal. Honestly. Like look at the guys who work for Elon, right? Elon's not a fucking college graduate, but the guys working for him sure are. You know, critical thinking.
Bill Gates.
Critical thinking is more important to me. I'd rather you come up with a creative way of finding out and making things easier for yourself than like.
The advantage of schooling is just options, I think. And this is because I have this argument with the kid all the time. I mean, try arguing with your 13-year-old about school when you're a freaking high school dropout. Yeah. As of next year, Baz will have more high school credits than I do. You know what I mean? Like,
college buys you? It buys you a key to be on the top of the pile. That's all it does. Go into college and all this stuff and having a high grade. All it does is put you on the top of the pile for interviews. The only difference is where your order is in that stack. I know, because I used to be a hiring manager for 7 years of my time at Microsoft. I hired people, and the people that had the highest education in the field that we were hiring for were on the top. I'd interview the shit out of a bunch of them and realize that they were all dry as shit and all knew the same things and had the same flaws. I'd sweep them off the top, get through them, and then I'd get down to the people that were like high school dropouts that got their GEDs, people that had huge GitHub repositories that had 1,000+ projects. Those were the guys I brought in and interviewed, and those were the guys I ultimately hired. Not to say that I didn't also, I did hire some people that had like, bachelor degrees in computer science and programming and stuff. But the vast majority of the people I hired over the 7 years were people that were nowhere near the top echelon of education and the people that I interviewed. What it comes down to is just like getting recognized. And a lot of people think you have to come in the front door, and you don't. That's another misconception. It's like, if you want to go work
never
in a
come
company,
in the front door.
Literally come in, operate the Saboro down in the cafeteria, go become a janitor, whatever you need to get in there and start making relationships. If you have the skills to back something up, even if you don't have the education to back up that you have those skills, get yourself in a position where you can just show one person that matters that you can do the thing that they're looking for. Yeah. And now all of a sudden your education doesn't mean jack shit.
That's a huge part of it. I've found, being in the tech world, I have some college education under me, but no proper degree or anything. And I've gotten in every job that I've gotten an interview for. Like that's to me, like, and I feel like the networking part, like college is great for meeting people and like
and connections.
Making connections and expanding your like experience with other human beings, right? Like I've been seeing all around lately, like leaving your hometown is probably the best life hack in the world.
Yeah, you break that elastic band. Once that band breaks, you're free to roam, man. It's
get away from where you grew up. Even if you end up going back, totally fine. But go spend a few years somewhere else.
I moved back.
Doesn't even have to be a big deal. Doesn't even have to be a big deal. Like I lived a couple years in the U District, right near University of Washington. I was not attending, but like I ended up having surrounded myself with people that had such different worldviews and exposed me to just different ways of thinking that I would have been a completely different person, right? And that's that I think is the biggest thing about college, is like getting to experience and interact with people who are not like the same people as you.
Well, it's so funny because I did the same thing where I was hanging out with my friend who's taking economics at McGill, and I would go and like listen to lectures and stuff just because I was interested. I mean, I think that's the key, is everyone's got their own path on this stuff. I think there's this need, I guess, in this attempt to simplify things, we've tried to sort of conform educations to specific, letters and numbers and stuff. But the reality is, as long as you're constantly learning, I think you're set. I mean, it doesn't matter what they talk about, we're not going to have careers anymore. We're going to have projects, right? I mean, and it's going to be all about like, okay, well, again, perfect example with the acting stuff. You go like, okay, so what part of acting can I apply to technology? It seems completely different to people. But the reality is there's so much overlap stuff there. And then, so you got the tech bandit stuff, or you've got the film tech, or you've got, visual effects, or, computer animation, any of that kind of stuff. I mean, there's always neat mixes that don't exist for other people. I think it really does come down, I think, to just inspiration on a lot of this stuff. If you're not inspired, it doesn't matter what education you've got.
Passion and inspiration will get you everywhere.
Yeah,
that's if I made a recommendation to anybody that's like on the fence right now, is one, take risks. The younger you are, the faster you bounce back. Take risks.
Weird stuff.
Like nothing in my life would have ended up anywhere if I didn't take like colossal risks.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is like have confidence in your passion. Like if you don't know how to do something, if it's something you're passionate about, learning it will be no problem.
Just learn it. Yeah.
You'll learn it.
Yeah.
And if you don't learn it the way everybody else does, it doesn't matter. As long as all employers care about is that you can do the magic. They don't give a shit how you did the magic.
Yeah.
They just care that you can do the magic. And I know this.
Although there are a lot of places that won't take people without specific degrees on them.
Correct. And that's why it
with all
moves
the
you to
online
top of the
hiring.
pile. But you know what? Like I said, I know the hack around that. And I'll tell you guys right now, this is the greatest hack in the world, and it still works today. I didn't think it did, but it does. My friend just did it. If you cannot go in the front door because you don't meet the educational requirements, go in the back door. Get a job that is so far AuxxZillary, ladies. Anyways, go in the back door. And what I mean by that is go find a job that is your education level, but not necessarily what you want to do at that company.
Right,
Get in there and know people. As soon as you know people,
man,
you can walk around the hire process like you would not believe. Let me tell you, I started at Microsoft. If you guys watch my YouTube video where I talk about my entire, childhood and education, I was literally in special education. I dropped out of high school when I was 16 and a half years old, went and got my GED. All that stuff led to me being a senior software developer at the largest software company in the world, and a highly decorated one too. Like I've got all the fucking accolades. I've gotten a patent award. I've gotten several hero awards. They've come and handed me checks for $50,000 for just exceptional work that I did. Like I did amazing things at that company when I was there. And the way that I got there was I literally started as like a level 52, which was like a level below where most people start in the lab, just swapping hard drives and computers. Because I didn't tell them I knew how to program computers. I didn't tell them any of that because I didn't have the education to back it up. So I'm like, I'm just a guy. I'm a pit monkey. I can move the pins around. I work at a computer store. I do that all day. I build computers. Just let me come and swap hard drives out of your shit. Second I got in the door, I started writing automation to automate my whole job, find all the computers. People immediately started taking notice going, whoa, who wrote this program that's running on the server that's telling us which computers are down today? Oh, why am I getting an email from some automated thing telling me how many computers are down in the lab and the ETA for them coming back online? I just started writing these systems to do this. People started taking notice. Fast forward 7 months, I'm hired as a full-time software developer. My levels increased by like a factor of 5. My pay is like $65,000 or $70,000 starting, and I worked my way all the way up to making a base pay of like I think it was $165 when I left. Plus, I got a bonus every year and stock options, so it was like $300K at the peak of my career a year for somebody who has a GED. And that's a position that they only hire people out of college that have like 4-year degrees. Like if you wanted to just come into my position that I had, you would have had to have a 4-year degree in computer science, specifically discipline in C, C++, and C#. You would have had to have at least 10 years industry experience. Like no shit. Like and I was beneath that. I came in. I was one of the younger ones that was in my level because of that.
That's actually really good. I had a similar experience that I screwed up. I was working. Well, I was working. I got a job working for a company called Urest Services. In particular, they're
I know Urest. They were the people
they do the food service for Microsoft, among other things. They're high end like office building food service, right? Yep. I was working in building 34. The executive.
I've been to 34's cafeteria, sir.
I got best thing of it. This was the coolest thing, and really what kind of solidified the idea of like it's not so much like education as it is like who you know and like your work ethic and your desire to do a good job. Brian was the executive chef, the guy hiring me. I had a referral from his sous chef at the time. She was a friend of mine, and he sits me down and he goes, "Do you know why I'm going to hire you?" And I goes, because Jackie put in a good word for me. He goes, no. I mean, that helped, sure, but no. He goes, I'm going to hire you because you don't know anything about what you're doing.
He can mold you.
You're going to do exactly what I tell you to do.
I'm hiring you because you're dumb. No, just kidding.
Well, no, kind of. But he's like, he said, like, because you're basically a blank ball of clay. I'm hiring you because I believe that you will do what I say the way I say it, and you're going to get the job done in a way that's going to make me happy. Whereas I've hired a bunch of these kids out of culinary who think they know their shit and they know better than me. I'm hiring you because I believe that you are going to do a good job because I tell you to do a good job. And I did. I rocked. I was only making sandwiches. I wasn't like a chef. I'm not doing the grill or anything crazy, but I did. I rocked that thing out. I filled blanks on a menu that I come to Brian. I'm like, dude, why is this space blank? Figure it out. Okay. Right on, boss. That kind of thing. And so then getting to know people who also worked, other contractors who worked for the company. I ended up getting caught up in stupid behind the curtain politics stuff, interpersonal issues that didn't really involve me. And I quit. And about a month later, I got a job offer for setting up point of sale systems for the company. They would have sent me all around Western Washington to set up point of sale systems for their different cafes and stuff. The trouble is, shortly before I quit, I got in trouble for a misdemeanor theft charge for trying to steal a stop sign. I think I've gone over that story a few times. I had been gone from the company for more than 30 days, so they redid my background check. They're not going to hire me because of the theft charge. Their initial offer was $50K a year. This was back when this was over 10 years ago now.
How old were you when that happened?
22 to 24-ish. I'm not really sure. About back then.
See, back in the 80s, if you stole a stop sign, they just put another stop sign up and tell you to knock it off.
Man, the cop didn't even want to give me anything, but the freaking super mall security guy pressed charges. APD didn't even want to do anything, but that's a whole nother story. But I say that as an illustration of, like, had I just kept my head down and done the good job that they had hired me to do, man, who knows where I'd be right now? You know what I mean? Like, dude, $50K to put together point of sale systems. Come on. Like, that's great.
It didn't stop you though. You didn't let it stop you though.
No, I mean, I ended up driving a tow truck for a year and doing some other stuff, and I ended up everything worked out well enough. But like, I point that out as, like, man, if you can just get your foot into the door doing anything for the company that you really want to work for, or for a company that's doing the things that you really want to do, man, whatever it takes, fucking mop the floors, be a gopher. And I was only working for Year Rest for like a little over a year, maybe almost 2 years. And they would have, and like within 6 months, I was pressing people like, hey, how can I get into like AV setup? Right. Like I'll go in and plug projectors in and make sure like this meeting room is all ready to go. You know, all that stuff, whatever, anything. I'll drive a truck to the AV truck to wherever you want to go to set up this thing, whatever. Anything that's not just cooking, anything that I can kind of leverage some sort of technical ability. Just give me the chance. Right. And that's cool. And that's a big part of it, is just like, is just getting in there and then showing that you're like, that you have the go get them and stuff.
I mean, read the manual. I mean, that was my thing. I remember being, I was just acting, always acted. That was always what I did. And then a friend of mine was working at a voicemail company just pre-internet. And he would call up and ask for computer advice, because there'd be like stuff that, you know, because he knew I was, you know, messing around with this stuff all the time. So I would sort of like, you know, let him know about what, you know, how things, you know, I'd fix a few things for him here and there. Just because, again, I'm an actor. I had a lot of time to myself. I'd do a lot of the reading and geeking out stuff. And I'd always say, like, just let them know. Just let them know. Let them know that I'm, you know, that I'm helping you out on this type thing. You know, put in a word. Because I, you know, and then he decided to leave. So he called me and said, well, if you want to go talk to them, you should go talk to them. So I went in, $9 an hour. I get this job. He didn't say a thing about me, by the way. They had no idea that I'd done anything up until then. But I get in there, and the day that I met with them, there was like this, like everything stopped and someone was freaking out because one of the databases they'd screwed up some kind of a database thing or something. It's literally a matter of going back and bringing in the previous save. That was it. That was all that needed to be done, was just bring in a previous save from a thing. So I went up and I did that, and they're like, it was like, oh my God. And I remember the guy saying, like, how did you know that? You haven't even used the system before. I was like, well, I read before I came in for the meeting, I read the manual on the system. I mean, that was just, and he's like, what? There's a manual? Like it was like, they'd gone through training and they'd been trained to do specifically what happened. Again, they had full training. They paid for these guys to get training. I knew more about the system just because I sat down with the manual and just dicked around with it a bit. Mm-hmm. Again, $9 an hour. I loved it. I was getting paid nothing. I was sleeping under the desk. Just, I think honestly, just because I wanted to say that I did, I freaking loved it. But unfortunately, it paid more to pretend to be smart on television. So, so that I got distracted by that. But seriously, if a high school dropout can get a job that eventually, I literally got made a manager at this freaking within a year. It's like I hated it because I had to tell people what to do. But
there is always somebody that wants to take advantage of you to make a bigger payday than you're going to make. So if you position yourself and you know how to do something, they're not going to care about the minutia of it.
Yeah,
they're not. One of the things that made me like a really good software developer at Microsoft is I did things a lot differently than everybody else. I thought outside the box because I learned through trial and error. I didn't learn from the same college. Like everybody you hired from the college, every single one would sit around and be like, they get to the conference and go back, the polymorphic multiple inheritance of you got to use the N32 big Indian compiler optimization, bit shift, blah, blah, blah. And they could have that conversation with each other and be like, and I'd just be over here like, bitch, please. Like you're going to write 100 lines of code to save 1 millisecond when I already finished the job while you guys were talking about that shit. And it uses 1 extra millisecond. The optimization that you were going to make would have taken 200 years to recoup the cost on compared to me just getting it done now and eating the millisecond of timing. And Microsoft was, for internal stuff, was like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. Like if we can cut dev time down by dev time in half by reducing efficiency by a tiny bit and then just throwing a little bit more power and resources at it, if it's more debuggable and it's more readable, do it. And so that's one of the things I liked is because in school, they don't teach you to do that. In school, it's not about improvising. It's not about finding new ways to do things. It's if it's been done, there's a way you do that in a proper way that you do that. And that's it. They don't tell you the 100 bad ways to do it. They just say, this is the proper way to do it.
Because they can't test you on that.
They can't.
Because they can't, it's not, it's, they can't quantify that. So they need to sort of like, again, this is for so long now, we've been at a point where our brains can't keep up with the amount of information that's out there. Nobody, no. And it's only getting worse. So you've got to start thinking outside of the box on this stuff because otherwise you're just there's no way it's going to be, they're just going to be looking at, if you're looking at numbers on a spreadsheet, you can't, how do you pick an employee from that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I in a way I love it because I feel like the people who are going to succeed in the future are the people who are going to have a slightly different perspective on stuff. Who are going to be. It will be.
Like the majority of the workers will be the cookie cutters, but the people that really jump outside of that and move into new spaces and new realms are the people that haven't been conditioned to just stay where they're at. Yeah. It's going to be the people that move around, the jack of all trades, the people that find unique and creative ways to do things, the people that haven't been taught that feel shame for doing it the wrong way, even if it gets it done and fixes the problem or patches it like right now. Because that's
a snobbery too.
The snobbery. Oh, that's a big
There's definitely a snobbery, like where it's like, well, that's not real programming, or that's not real.
That's spaghetti code, dude. Like you can't do that. Be like, well, you didn't do it.
You didn't go to film school. I mean, what do you mean? No, I spent the same money on making a film. You know what I mean? Like it's like I think.
You want to know what interview question got me hired at Microsoft? You want to know the one? There was a ton of interview questions. It took like 4 hours and 7 interviewers. But the interview question that I actually got complimented on was one that was the average person would say this is the dumbest thing ever and that I cheated. But they actually thought it was creative as hell. They draw a circle on the board and they said with 2 cuts, cut this into 8 even pieces. So you draw a circle and you say with 2 cuts, this needs to be 8 even pieces. And what you're supposed to do is visualize it as a 3D object, like not hold yourself back. This is what you're supposed to do and what they expect, because if you go look up the problem, this is the solution, is you're supposed to visualize the 3D object, do a cut through the center, horizontal, vertical, and then through the center. And that gives you 8 even pieces. You know what I did? I erased a circle off the whiteboard, drew 4 quarters in a line and just did 1 cut through them. So I went, line them up, all the way down the center. So I solved this problem while still keeping it in 2 dimensions.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was
right.
like, well, that's never had anybody give me that answer before.
Right.
And he looked at me and he's like, why wouldn't you cut it through the center? And I said, because it's a 2D object. He's like, well, everybody that comes in here visualizes it as a 3D object. I was like, why would I do that? If I'm constrained to 2 dimensions, I'm not going to just add a third if there's a way to do it with 2 dimensions. And he was like, dude, that's a fucking brilliant answer. He's like, you're the only person that has ever given me that answer. Nobody else has ever thought to rearrange or to even pick up the eraser on the whiteboard. Just take the marker and go, that's what they do. And then they say the third cut. They don't do it. And I was like, so he thought that was incredibly interesting. But again, had I gone to college, I would have learned that question or looked it up online or the same way as everybody else learned it and be like, oh, well, obviously it's a circle and we got to cut it through the center. He didn't expect, but he never constrained me. He never said that I couldn't move the pieces, and even updated the question from that point on to say that you could not move the pieces. Because he explicitly said that I couldn't do that. So I took advantage of that. And it's one of those things where it's like in my head, that's how I thought that it should be done, because I haven't been contaminated to do it the same way as everybody else. I actually thought if I was in a room and I wanted to cut a cake into 8 even pieces, I would go wink, wink. And then if somebody wanted a half of that slice, I'd just cut it in half. That's how I thought about it, pragmatically. Like if you had a cake sitting and then you want to cut even pieces, what if the frosting's on the top? He specifically said it's not going to be even if you cut it through the middle. The frosting's not going to be on the top of the slices. For them to be truly identical, they have to be lined up and in the same plane if it is in fact a cake. And so that's how I thought about it. But nobody else comes to that answer ever. So he thought that was really, but you could argue that I was cheating. If it had been a different interview, you might have been like, that's so dumb. You move the pieces. That's not how you do it. But I thought it was
if he'd been trained, been trained to find people as opposed to needing to find people. Again, if you've got the right teachers in these situations, you're not getting textbook answers. You're getting, it drives me crazy when at Baz at school, where I go like, why are you reading at school? It doesn't make any freaking sense to me. The whole point of school should be that you're doing things that you can't do on your own. Yeah. Like it's stuff that involves people. Like you all go off and study for your exam. It's like, what? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Go off and study for your exam when you're by yourself. When you're at school, you should be doing projects together. And it still feels like they're just, they're scrambling. It's the pandemic. Gimpy G talks about this, where there's just so much bureaucracy and stuff.
It's not just this last year. It drives me.
So in chat,
you're right.
Somebody mentioned the Kobayashi Maru, the test in Star Trek that's that you can't beat it. They just want to see how you handle it. There's actually one of those at Microsoft. I don't know if they do it anymore, but one of the questions that you get as a software developer going through the loop at Microsoft, at least back when I did it, one of the common questions was create a compression algorithm for a fax machine. And it's basically they give you a page of text and they say create a compression algorithm on a whiteboard. You don't get to do it in a compiler. On a whiteboard, explain your work, how you would compress this data down to the tightest possible feed that it could be. And the whole point of the question is, even after you solve it, they just come back and say it can be better. It can be better. It can be better, because it can always be, the compression algorithm can always be better. There is no perfect compression algorithm because the data is dynamic, and depending on the reoccurrence of characters and stuff like that, you can always add new patterns and stuff like that to make it tighter and tighter and tighter, theoretically, like for different text. But the idea being is there's always room for improvement. Like you can always, you can increase the speed, the efficiency. Yeah. What if it's color? What if it's black and white? They just keep throwing you curveballs for an hour and make you sweat it out, because no matter what new thing you find, they come back and say it can be better. No matter what, even if you wrote the best algorithm that Microsoft did, they just come back and say it could be better. And then at the very end of the interview, they go, sorry, but your time's up. And then they'll talk to you for a little bit and then they let you go. And you're like, my God, I fucked that up when I left it. And then you find out after the case, when they come back, they said, no, he actually did an amazing job. Like he actually got to like 5
We're teaching you to iterate. We're teaching you how to iterate.
That's better. And exactly. And they don't want you to ever think that anything's perfect.
It's one of the arguments I have with it. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I had an argument with a producer about a kids thing that we were working on, and they wanted everything to. They're like, okay, but then, so what's the result? I'm like, the result is whatever we end up with. Like, no, we got to have something as a result. I was like, no, because that's the freaking problem with online education, is that you have all of these little montages, and then 2-minute montage, it's all done. And if the kids literally start believing that unless it looks exactly like that at the end of their first go, that they're a failure or that they're not good at this, whereas the whole point is the journey. The whole point is to have the fun of figuring this stuff out. If they don't learn to love that stuff, they're never going to succeed in this ever. It's the most frustrating thing in the world. I think it's because the playing is what, it's funny. I just got a new on your sort of on your advice, or maybe on your warning, Barnacules, I bought I got set up with PF Sense.
Ooh, yeah.
Nice.
But I thought, you know what? I'm not going to mess around. I bought a little Netgate box for it.
Oh, so you got like one of the official approved hardware guys.
I got one of the official approved hardware things to play with. And I got it because it's not the easiest one to play with.
No, it's ridiculously complicated when you dig into it.
Oh my effing! And between that and this freaking CNC that I'm building right now, I am like, it's like I'm having the best time. But Jane's like you seem frustrated. I was like, yeah, I'm frustrated. Everything sucks and it's amazing.
Yeah, dude, back up frequently too with PF Sense, because I've done a couple of doozies where I've gone down a tunnel and I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. Like setting up a VPN to use Open VPN. This before the WireGuard stuff came out. You have to do like 20 steps because
I know it's insane.
You have to like go create it. And I did that. And the first time I did it, I fucked it up so bad I had to start over from scratch. So then the next time I created a backup and I had to restore it twice before I finally got it working.
I've got it set up. I don't think, although I'm bypassing it for this because I was like, I knew there's no way. It's hard enough getting online with you guys at the best of times, let alone when I tried going through the new net. So I've got it on a separate system net, a test first, but I love it.
Have you installed PF Blocker NG yet?
No.
Oh, dude.
Unless it's installed automatically.
No, it's not. This is the plugin that changes PF Sense from just being a really fancy router to being something that is just insanely useful to anybody. And PF Blocker NG is basically like PF Sense version of Pi-hole, which blocks all dangerous DNSs. It'll do deep packet inspection. If anything looks like a virus or anything looks malicious, it blocks it and won't allow it to get to your browser in the house. You can put different block lists, dynamic block lists and stuff that are maintained by third parties, and even pay subscription fees for a company that does it literally for a living to make sure that your computer can't have an inbound connection or an outbound connection to anything that's doing something malicious all the way down to the packet level.
Wow. And so PF Blocker package. I want to install
PF Blocker. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. The default, like when you just enable it, it'll basically be like Pi-hole, where it just blocks the spam advertisers and stuff like that on websites. Right. It'll just remove them with blank images. But once you start going in there and enabling some of the more clever block lists and stuff like that, it will actually prevent like malicious people from pinging you. Like it'll intercept pings coming from known malicious IP addresses and not respond to them, while allowing everything else through. So it's like, it's just this massively deep packet inspection. It doesn't slow anything down too. That's the thing I noticed. Anytime I enabled any kind of smarter packet inspection on like my Netgear, it slows it down. Yeah, it's super speedy. You can enable, as long as you got a fast enough processor in it, like on mine, I have PF Blocker NG with like probably 30 or 40 different like lists, dynamic lists associated with it. And the thing never gets above like maybe 5 to 8% CPU usage.
Cool.
It's wild, dude. It's absolutely wild. So I recommend it honestly for everybody. I wish I had started running it like years ago because it solves so many problems.
Anybody who wants to play, because I have a feeling that you could use Ubiquity. There's definitely easier systems.
Yeah.
I just want to start. I love the idea of these virtual, what are they called? VLANs. The idea of having separate, like having all of my Wi-Fi on one, except, okay, so here's a question for you.
Sure.
So my Wi-Fi is built into the router that I got with the phone and all that crap.
Yep.
Like the Bell router. Mm-hmm. I should basically just turn that off and have a separate Wi-Fi that goes through
the
Netgate, right?
Correct. And what you do is go get yourself get a dedicated wireless access point, like not one that's integrated with your modem. Just disable that functionality of the modem. You just want the modem to be a modem and nothing else. Yeah, and then you can either get a USB, like one of those USB network dongles and put it on the PF Sense box and it'll use that, but the range will be limited. Or you get something like a Linksys network router or whatever, and you put it into something called gateway mode or bridged mode. And what it's basically going to do is, instead of your wireless router giving out IP addresses and routing things, all it's going to do is get a DHCP assignment from PF Sense. And all your stuff that connects wirelessly is going to get its IP address, DNS, and everything through the PF Sense router. All it's going to do is it'll be a dummy antenna. That's it.
So is there one that you recommend? Like a good, that's I got 3 floors. The problem is I've got like repeaters and all sorts of crap. What do you like?
See, that's where it starts getting complicated, because if you use something like Ubiquity and stuff, you're not going to be able to do that level of routing with it. You're going to want to just get like a really nice, powerful like 8 antenna access point that's like 802.11n or AX or better.
Right.
Or Wi-Fi.
There's a pretty cool looking gaming one that I saw. I think it's an Asus.
Don't waste your money. Honestly,
really?
don't waste your money because you're literally disabling everything on it. You're only using it as an antenna.
Huh. Okay.
As a matter of fact,
of course, that's right, because you're paying for all the internals that you don't need.
Exactly. So what I would even recommend, and you do a little research first, but I bet you can go get a USB dongle. I bet you can go get a USB dongle that has an antenna connector on it, and then just put like a super OP antenna on it and crank it to max power. And through that little USB dongle, like get the ones that you can plug an antenna onto, and get yourself like an external antenna array that you can like put like outside the room where your router is or something in a central location of your house. And I bet you that'll work better than any wireless access point that you could buy, because you're going to just disable all the internal stuff anyways. You just want it to basically be, all you want it to do is have the wireless devices connect to it and then forward all the packets back and forth to pfSense and not do anything else.
Exactly. So I can keep my IoT stuff in one little virtual. I mean, the other big one for me is the kid, right? Because the kid is, talk about a freaking security hazard. Well, I mean, not even just the kid, just the rest of your family. Like, who just goes like, oh, I don't know, I'll click on that. Hey, what a weird email I just got from you. You're like, no, like, as long as you can keep them separate from your data, it just seems like honestly, I think we could probably be fine as it is, but I'm really enjoying playing with it ever since I started doing that network course. I changed on that, by the way. I was doing IT Pro TV, and going through their course, their networking course. I really like it. Like it's kind of fun and they're very chatty and stuff. But honestly, it didn't work for me because it was too chatty and not enough. I wanted diagrams. I wanted pictures. I wanted visual. I need to see stuff. And they had a little bit of that, but it was pretty rudimentary. So I've gone back to LinkedIn Learning. But if anyone's got a recommendation for a good full, I want basically from the beginning to network certification, I'd like to just have a full course that has lots of, so if anyone's got any good suggestions on that, let me know. I'd love to do that. I just feel like network's just something that's worth knowing about, in that it's a part of everything we do all the time now.
Yeah.
All right, now that I've bored everyone to death.
No, I love networking stuff. I was replying back to Kevin O'Connor. We said just bite the bullet and get 10 Ubiquity Gen 6 access points to do the and Ubiquity is great. Ubiquity stuff is absolutely amazing. The only thing I don't know about Ubiquity is if you can use it in a passive capacity where it basically creates a mesh network, but it forwards everything through a centralized router. I don't know if it does that or if it handles it itself.
And that's total overkill. I would just like to do it.
Yeah, I was going to do that with the stuff you let me borrow. But these ones I didn't want to fuss around. These ones are EOL, and they only go up to a certain firmware, and to get the level of control that I wanted, these ones weren't going to work for my particular desires. I would need the big round or the newer round ones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what do they call those ones? They're nice looking little systems.
They're
what do they call? Well, let me just go into this box from Amazon.
I actually think I have two of them over here.
So this one is this the AC. This is their version 2, I believe.
Right.
But they have a better one.
Those little guys.
See, the round one is best. That's the new one.
What is this? So this is AP. Let's see. Where's the model number? Hold on here. 6545A UAP.
Yeah. Those are the newer ones.
Unfortunately, this one, the reason I'm not using this is because it's broken. It literally just it powers on and just gets hung. It won't do anything. But no, the Ubiquity stuff. It sounds like Adam even confirmed. He said that you can use it in passive mode. So what it would be doing is creating a really nice uniform mesh network throughout your house.
Yeah.
I mean,
I could have. I was thinking about going. I was tempted to go with Ubiquity, and chances are there are going to be days when I'm pulling my hair out that I will probably think I should have. But I just kind of wanted to play, because God knows I don't have enough to do already. I just thought, let's get some more in there. And also, that's the point.
Yeah, no, you're gonna love the pfSense thing. And here's another thing too: run a speed test with and without it. I shit you not. And I still don't really understand how this works. Wendell did explain it to me a little bit from Level 1 Tech, but I actually get a lower ping time and a higher bandwidth going through my pfSense router than I do connecting directly to the modem.
Well, because isn't the modem's basically giving it to everyone, right? It's putting it out on every port, right?
Right, but I'm talking about if I connect my laptop directly to my cable modem and I ping something, I get a lower ping time going through the pfSense box. And it has something to do with the timing and the size of the packets or something like that versus Windows 10 network stack versus going through pfSense and then going from pfSense to the modem and how it's optimized. And I was shocked by that. I was shocked that it like cut down my it literally knocked like 5 milliseconds off of my average time. And it increased my speed test. When I'm connected to the modem, I can only get 800, and connected to the pfSense, I can get over 900 megabit per second. So it's like, it's really bizarre because it seems counterintuitive because you're like, I'm adding something into the mix. Like I'm going through
That's
the
what I would have thought.
through pfSense. I should slow it down, but it's the way that it's doing it. It's more optimized. And so
it feels snappier. It feels snappier to me for sure. Yeah,
it totally is. And
I'm just waiting for the cry from my son going like, it's not working. And then,
you can also do some pretty cool stuff. If you want to mess with Baz, just get his MAC address off of all of his devices and go in there and enable throttling.
I've actually already got his MAC addresses.
Oh, yes. But you can also throttle per packet. So you can do deep packet inspection and say if it's like if it's HTTPS for web, you can basically say if it's an HTTPS connection, throttle it to this. You can also do really funny stuff like if it's a non-encrypted connection, which everything's encrypted now, so I don't know how you do this, but if you had like a Gmail or something like that and it wasn't an encrypted connection, you could just do deep packet inspection and replace words on his email.
Right. Oh,
like, you can do some really twisted shit with pfSense. Like,
well, he's really beginning to take an interest in hacking, which I'm so excited about. And I try not to get too. I don't want to go like, oh, well, if you could do this, you could. One of the he I guess by accident somehow he managed to get. He got some kind of admin access on his school's. On his school's like
Chromebook thing,
learning platform thing.
Oh,
and he just, I mean, he just went like, well, what if I cut and pasted this and put it in there? And he's like, oh, and then he backed that right out again. But, and I don't know how legit it was what he's done, but I love that he's even trying because I just feel like that's what I was missing when we started Tech Bandits was this kind of like sort of like, well, no, that's a box. Why would you open it? I was like, what? It's a box. Why wouldn't you open it? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? I'm just looking up the one that I got so I can, because someone had asked about that.
You can do some really fun stuff though. Like you can give him an alternate DNS server that resolves all of his websites to other websites you want him to go to. Like you could literally create your own website, like, you know, called like, I don't know, davidhewlett.com or whatever, and then go in and force him on your local DNS server and do injection. So every time he tries to resolve like Bing and Google or Twitch, it just takes him to your website.
Yeah, I think I should do that just so that my only fear with hacking him is that he's going to get me back. And I'm scared it's going to happen at some point that might not be as funny for me as it is for him.
You can even do it at the IP level too. That's the neat thing about the router is because it like they could go around DNS, right? He could get the IP address and then he could go to it directly, but you can even redirect the IP address. So you can even have pfSense say if he had the actual IP for Bing and he typed that in, it would still route him to your website. Right. It'd give a certificate validation error on the website, but it would route them to your website. So you can
want something that says he's been hacked, so that just to freak him out. Because I'm so sick of this like lax security he's got. I just want something that says like you have been hacked. Stop watching hentai. You're done. Or hentai.
Yeah, that's the one with the tentacles. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So what you do is you just block all access to HTTPS and HTTP protocol. Block it and then set up a proxy server. And then configure his browser to pick up the proxy server through DHCP so that it'll go through the proxy. And then you can replace any images. You can replace any text, even with HTTPS, because the HTTPS connection will be established from pfSense. And then to him, it'll be non-encrypted. So you decrypt it on pfSense, swap in all the cat images for everything, and then it'll show up on his phone with whatever you want replaced. You can do some nutso stuff with it, man. It's like pfSense is pretty much the apex of what you can do with networking. Like it basically is just a full-blown like BSD kernel that you can build anything on top of.
Ari says I should do a ransomware attack. Thanks, Ari.
Funny, dude.
That's like a good fun ransomware attack. Well, just
like, dude, that would, oh my God, would that be a viral?
And see if he pays it without asking.
No, but instead of asking for Bitcoin, you ask for house chores. You're like, your computer has been taken over by David Hewlett. Have like your face being like, ha, 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 ha. Be like, until you do the dishes, you have 25 minutes to do the dishes. Otherwise, I delete your folder with all your hentai.
Oh, that's right.
There you go.
Initiating encryption.
No.
Yeah, that's good. That is good.
Syskey encryption in 5 seconds. That would be the most viral video ever. Guys,
currently selling
really
your. Oh, go.
I gotta go pee. My old 41-year-old bladder hasn't working like it used to.
It's like
I'll be right back. Hey, Ox, can you read off the starting? Hold on here. Countryman 3000 and down.
I don't.
Hey,
I don't
Country
see-
Man 3000.
I don't
Never mind.
see
I'll
the
do it when I
list.
get back.
Okay. I mean, I'll scroll back.
I could start like threatening to sell his League of Legends skins.
Yeah.
Because we have had some chore issues recently, I've got to say.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, like, I just wish I was born now, because not born now, born like 13 years ago, like my kid,
Right,
because
right.
like just learning all this stuff, it's all available there. It drives me crazy.
I wish the girls were more curious like that.
I think you need to get older. I don't think I was that. I think.
I mean, I was like, I don't know. I feel like they take it for granted, I guess, or like they don't really realize the strength of it, the power that they like. Teenager asked me about, hey, have you guys ever been to Iron Creek? Something like that. I'm like, no, never heard of it. What, like, where did that, why are you asking? Oh, I saw something about TikTok and it's supposed to be in Washington, blah, blah, blah. Never heard of it. Don't know where it is.
Huh.
You literally are a 2-second Google search and you could know right where it's at, and then there's a Wikipedia article all about it if it's like some haunted stuff or whatever. But it's like there's like there'll be a question, but never the desire to like really find out the answer.
Yeah, I wonder what it is. Is it? I mean, to me, it's easier to look stuff up. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's easier to look stuff up than it is to ask parents. But for some reason, they ask parents. I mean, or not. That's the other thing. Is you always give them the wrong answer, anyways. I'm going to throw one more thing into the mix here now that Barnacules is back, because I think it's interesting to get people's perspective on this. There is this amazing group of folks who've been working on this thing called Stargate Network, which is this like crazy cool 3D designed, all done by these guys who've just been working like dogs for ages on this stuff, purely out of a love of the Stargate show and just creation, the whole process of creating this thing. And they just got I don't know if they officially got it or not, but they're concerned that there's a lot of cease and desists going out from MGM right now. I guess because they've been purchased. Experience. Well, and I feel like this is like the old dinosaur mentality that if they don't fix this, they're fucked. They don't deserve the fan base. I mean, like I think the fan base will start making their own stuff and screw them. I mean, it just seems crazy to me. That's why I tweeted. That's why I actually pinned the tweet. I was so sort of angry about it because these guys, man, they've been working hard, and it's out of pure like love. Yeah, it's not. There's no monetary. They're trying to figure out how to make some money at some point, and it's like, yeah,
dude, I saw that and it brought back flashbacks of because I fought the same exact cause that these guys are fighting to get them to drop the cease and desist against the guys that were doing the Star Trek bridge experience with the VR. And they were just giving it away. It was like literally like open source. It was on a website. They weren't selling it. They weren't making any money, but they shut them down and they had to stop developing on it after like 2 years of recreating the entire enterprise down to rooms that you didn't even see. The entire schematic, like they were almost there. And now the only way to get it is you basically have to like go on to freaking like torrents and dark websites and download like the last version they published before they got the cease and desist. They had to pull it down from all legit locations.
But look what Warhammer did. Warhammer had that guy making these crazy, amazing CG movies about their intellectual property. Oh, man. What did they do? Did they send the lawyers? No, they freaking hired him and have him making short films for them. Doesn't that make sense?
That does actually.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Oh, drives me
I really hope NGM drops the cease and desist, but I don't think they will. Like,
no, they've always been very litigious.
I've seen this with. I just
Amazon owns them now, and they're
Amazon's a little more savvy. That's true.
Yeah,
and
this is how bad it's got.
Game. I know Amazon's really been trying to push hard on their own sort of like game development and distribution and stuff. So,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I got striked on Twitter. I got threatened. Like I had to go through like Twitter training to get my account back yesterday. I've never seen this before. It pops up and says, "Oh, you've been DMCA'd for posting this thing owned by Sony or whatever, and and so one more offense and your account will be deleted. You have to go through this training to show you'll never do it again." I'm like, "What the fuck did I post?" Check this out. Like a year ago, I posted an RTX voice demo of Rag and Bones Man singing for under 10 seconds. So it's within fair use. Under 10 seconds. And not only that, I had RTX voice rip out the entire vocal track. So all it was dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun, and none of his voice. Like, ripped out the entire vocal track using RTX to demonstrate it. And they're like, we own the rights to that, and blah blah blah. And if you do this again, we will come after you for damage, financial damage. I replied to him. I was like, did you guys like? Is a robot just banning everything on Twitch? Because if you guys went and listened to this, one, you've noticed
exactly
it's been altered. Yeah, it's been altered. It's under 10 seconds. It's within fair use, and it's a demonstration of technology that doesn't reproduce or redistribute the work in any meaningful way. That it alters its discoverability, because to violate fair use, you have to damage the revenue stream of it. And there's no way anybody's going to want to listen to the song all fucking garbled up by RTX voice with no vocal track. It's not Rag and Bones Man, right? And so I replied back to him with a very polite, message, basically saying, you need to remove this notice from my account, immediately, or we can escalate. So I'm waiting to see if they want to do the back and forth, or they're just going to say, okay, well, a real person will.
Good luck getting back in your account again.
Yeah, exactly. I'll probably just be canceled tomorrow. But it happens.
I feel like I'm at this point now where like I want an open source. I want like library. I want Odyssey. I want something where I can
Twitter,
just do it. I want to do what I want to do now. Like I feel like I almost don't care about the discoverability anymore. I just want a place where I can just put the stuff up when I put it up. And it's like, if someone has a problem, they can talk to me and I'll say, hey, whatever. Like, I mean, I did a whole thing for this school the other day, this whole thing on space for this local school. And it's all internal. But I wanted to share it privately so that they could stream it to show it. I put it on YouTube. And what happens right away? Bang, 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 bang. You've been you've been like, jeez. And I'm like, shit. So I ended up using Vimeo, which doesn't obviously have the same algorithms, but I'm not posting it for public use. This is a private thing that's going to the schools. It's like that classic thing of like being shown movies at school and it says "do not copy" at the bottom because all your teachers are ripping stuff off. It should be, if it's going to a school, they have to. It's so blanket right now on this stuff. And also, what the hell? I mean, like, it's been proven over and over again that if people see portions of films, they go and watch the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, or it's the like music or whatever.
Like when pirating games, like most of the people who were pirating games tended to be, because there's no demos anymore. Like, I'm not going to risk $60 and to not figure it out. There's been plenty of times where I downloaded a game and then went and bought it because like I needed online connectivity or whatever, and I just needed a taste of it, and I don't know.
I do. I feel like there needs to be a new. I want a new platform. Like, it's driving me kind of crazy. I guess you could do this and just open it up to everybody. But or this kind of thing. But it's still streaming to YouTube, right? I mean, or is that maybe that's the OnlyFans thing? Maybe that is
kinda right.
Maybe that's because then you could do whatever the hell you want, stream whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, like everything on there has copyrighted music in the background.
Does it?
That's another thing I don't understand is like the cam girl sites or whatever they're on. They always have music in the background, always. Like in every single situation, every single one of these, any clip I've ever seen, there's like copyright music playing in the background, but they don't DMC anybody over there. It's almost like like the companies don't even want to acknowledge its existence. Like even just like acknowledging its existence would push more people there. So they're like, nah, just let them have it. But I find that like hugely hypocritical that it's like, okay for them to do that, but you can't do it on Twitch. You can't have background music like while you're talking to people.
I mean, I love what's happening with, sort of love what's happening with like Amazon Music and Spotify, where if you're all members of Spotify, you can all listen to the music, right? Yeah. Like I love the idea that you can have like play parties where it's like, okay, as long as you own Spotify, you'll hear the music in the background while your cam girl is dancing.
Right. Wait, didn't Twitch do that with Amazon Prime Video? Like if can't you do a watch stream where you're
some of the stuff, but I have a hard time figuring out what they allow and what they don't. To be honest,
there is like a program or something you can sign up for that, like through it's like Twitch Music.
I have it.
They have a bunch of like
on Streamlabs. I have it.
Right. It's like supposedly okay stuff to stream, but you're probably still going to get hit with DMCA's anyway, because it's seriously just a bunch of web crawlers or whatever, just scrubbing for particular things that kind of
is that what it's doing?
They have copyrighted. Yeah, it's outrageous.
I was
using Spotify lists.
I signed up for a music service back when I was making videos about 5-6 years ago. And I'd put the music in my video, it'd be fine. I had the license and I had to put like this little thing in the description that would basically tell YouTube not to copyright strike it because I have the rights to it.
Yeah.
And I did that. And sure enough, like 5 years later, boom, 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 like 8 videos demonetized for having this one audio track that I used in my intro. And that's why I got rid of my intro ultimately, is because it was just every video that had an intro that was just like, bwah, 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 bwah. Like Nintendo of America, like fucking claimed it, even though it was in the library and I had the rights to use it. But what happened was the company went out of business and they're supposed to retroactively, like you paid, so you own it for that period of time. But Nintendo didn't care. They just added the list. I could have fought it for each one of them and like went back through a whole appeal process and everything, but nobody would have replied to me. Nobody would have ever done anything.
And that's unfair too. It's like the onus is on the person getting striked to like fight back and to prove that it's okay for them to have and
it's under penalty of perjury, even though it's not for them to flag you.
Yeah, like
they can have an automated mechanism flag you completely illegally, but then if you respond and you appeal it and you're wrong, you lose your account.
Yeah.
They even say that like in the thing. It's like, if you want to appeal this, you better be damn sure and present good evidence, because if we find that this still stands, like on appeal number 3, you're gone. It's like a 3 strikes program. They will just delete your account because you keep appealing things and losing.
Yeah.
Dude, I have like one of my favorite MGM stories is we did a promo for MGM when the show was live. We did a promo where I was goofing around in front of the Stargate, and I was like, watch on Friday and win a contest or whatever. We win a visit to set or something. MGM took it down because it was copyright infringement. So their legal department took down their PR department's thing.
See,
so we got all these big numbers. Like we got really good numbers on YouTube, and then all of a sudden, bang, it's gone because MGM took it down, even though it's promoting an MGM contest. Like that's the stupidity of this. I mean, when Dog's
like
Breakfast
the bots
came
just
out,
look for it. The bots just search for a keyword and just shut everything down. Same thing with Nintendo. If you put Nintendo
in this case,
in the title
they're paying for a service. I think they're paying. I think MGM is paying big freaking money to lawyers and services to go in and find this stuff.
Yeah,
the company that struck me wasn't Sony. The company that struck me, it was like some third party company for like the International Federation of Vinyl Records or something like that. And they're like, oh, we represent Sony of America, and you have violated the following copyrights. And it was like 30 different Rag and Bones versions, remixes, like every Rag and Bones property ever. They listed them all. Like they have an algorithm just going through the database and matching everything that they can and putting that on you. Just, and it couldn't have been from the song, because there's no, I mean, I don't even think you could have matched the song using like one of those, apps that recognizes a melody. Like it was that garbled up. I think that they literally went just by the text in there that says, listen to what Rag and Bones blah 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 sounds like with RTX applied. And they found that, and it was like literally the bottom is like, signed by CEO of IFTF or whatever. But we didn't send that mail. Like the CEO isn't sitting down and sending copyright messages to every single person that posts like half a clip of a song or uses a word. So what they do is they just hit everybody, and then the people that come back and fight it over time, they might appeal those and remove those. But it's just accuracy by volume. They're just hitting everybody and hoping that, and it's not worth the time to complain. Same thing when people claim my shit on YouTube. It's happened. I probably have, out of my library of 800 videos, I probably have 50 videos that have been claimed. This is different. This isn't so basically what happens, they say, because you used an audio clip, a song, or a visual asset in your video in its entirety, even if it's for 1 second, they own all the revenue generated from that video from the point that they claim it on through time.
Which doesn't make any sense to me. Like,
yeah, and the problem is you have a lot of companies that just lie. This is a big problem. I think it still is a big problem. Is you have these companies that just file a false claim against videos that are like 7 to 10 years old, and they're hoping that people aren't even managing those channels or watching them anymore, and nobody's around to appeal it, and it in an email just shows up and goes in the spam filter on your Gmail. So they're hoping people won't even notice the claims. And so they'll claim your entire library and just take all your money. And you're like, why is my YouTube channel not making any money? And then you go look at the things and it's like, oh, this was claimed because it doesn't take your video down. No, it doesn't tell you in the dashboard.
The ad revenue to the guy who made the claim.
That's it. They just reroute it to him. And oh my God, it's always old videos. It's never a new video. It's always an old video. It's like 7 to 10 years old. Like somebody tried to do that twice now to my room tour video. That's 3.5 million views. Because I play, like I have those, like this music track play, but it's a music track from YouTube's own music library.
Yeah.
And somebody managed to go through and claim it and said, oh, some company named ABC 26358 has claimed ownership of the song, and so revenues will go to them unless this is appealed. So I appealed it, and I won the appeal both times, like within 24 hours. But still, the fact that somebody did that, like how many other tens of thousands of people did they also claim? that like only 1% of them appealed in one, and the rest of them even if one video is only
I can't be bothered.
Cents.
I just can't be bothered. There's a bunch of stuff, including a Dog's Breakfast trailer. So Dog's Breakfast is an interesting one on that front. So the movie we made, Dog's Breakfast, I made a trailer for. I put it on YouTube, and someone claimed it. So, and I guess it was a distributor who's distributed it somewhere in the world. But I was like, whatever, I don't care. But it was also pirated. Like within a week, well, less than a week, within a couple of days of the movie coming out, it was on the torrents. Mm-hmm. And so I looked it up, and I was like, I went to MGM and I said, look, I think you should put an ad for Stargate in there and let them have it. Because what does it cost you? People will go like, oh my God, Stargate, I want to watch that show, or I want to go buy that thing, or whatever, or put a code in. I ripped off this movie. So I get 15% off the box set of Stargate. You'd make more money doing that. You know what they did? They filed copyright against all of them.
What asshole?
Every single one of the people who they were up against. And I feel bad because I literally provided them with a list of torrents, because it was more people saw that thing as a torrent than they ever will or did see it as a DVD, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, great, whatever, I don't care, and you shouldn't either, because it could fund, like, it would pay more in advertising than it would in sales.
But you know what the irony is that they get flagged for creating a video that draws attention to the movie and makes people want to go watch the movie. Mm-hmm. But then the people that actually can do it legally are the people that are critics. As long as you say you're a critic, you can literally give away the entire the movie from start to end, basically, with commentary over the top of it, and they can't touch you.
So should we just be critics from now on? We're music and film and video critics.
Yeah, just like every 5 seconds in your video, be like, oh man, this Metallica Enter Sandman is like really speaking to me. Like, it really reaches into my soul. Oh, and today we're going to be unboxing the Ubiquity router. And then like Lance Ulrich's music is legendary. Okay, and then we're going to plug in the USB cable. And then you're fine, because you're giving commentary, and therefore it's fair use. And then you just cut out like one of the choruses so that you're not playing it and it's unmodified entirety. And then you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And is there not software that could go through and change music just enough that it was no longer triggering copyright?
Yeah, actually you can. And that's one way that I've seen people work around copyright for music. Although they have upgraded the algorithm on YouTube now. It detects a shift in a pitch, and it detects a shift in speed. Because I've tried, that's what I used to do. I used to play Benny Hill music, like, and I'd speed it up to 150%. So it'd be like, and it worked for like 3 years, but then eventually the entire library of videos that had the Benny Hill thing got flagged, and then I went in and just disabled the music and removed the whole audio track. So now all those, if you go back and watch my old videos, whenever that happens, it's just silence. It's just awkward silence through where I played that music.
Wow. You should just go and record yourself doing it, going. Would they nail you for that?
No, just mouth music, everything.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There you go.
Just beatbox every single song now in the background of your music, and then just tell people, sorry, that's what I have to do. Hey, I want to thank you.
That's going to be my new career.
Do it. Do it, David.
I'm going to go get coffee.
Get some coffee. Countryman 3000, thank you for that $5, and thank you for sponsoring today's show. Also, today's show is sponsored by Repcord. Throwing $20 in the ring. He said, chipping in for Dave's tail removal surgery once the true effects of the AstraZeneca vaccine are revealed. That's damn nice of him to put that out. Pup Shepherd, thank you for sponsoring today's Tech Talk. He said, licks, because he likes to lick, because he's a pup, and that's what pups do. He said, I tried VR for Game Solace Project. Oh my God, everything is so much more grand than in flat 2D panel. Yeah, no. VR is one of those things you have to experience.
It's awesome.
There is no freaking way to show what VR is like over any video. Like, you have to put on an HMD, get it calibrated properly, and try it for yourself. It is a life-altering experience. Trust me. And even if you hate Facebook, go get yourself a Quest 2. Even if you hate Facebook, I know Quest 2 is tied to it, but I have 5 VR headsets now. I have a Valve Index, which is like over $1,000 and has laser tracking, although it does have the best controllers and it does have a really nice HMD. But the Quest 2 is wireless out of box. You can play wireless from your computer to the headset with no lag using your access point. You can play through a USB cable, or you can play completely standalone with no computer. And so I found it to be so convenient that that's what I use for everything now. Like, I even use the Quest, even when I have a Valve Index sitting right here with, I still just go downstairs in the living room and just rock out with the Quest. I love it. Absolutely love it. Nice. Gimpy GG, thank you for the $5 sponsorship there, sir. Johnny Garcia, also sponsoring today's show. He said, what do you think of a life coach? My interpersonal skills are just not good. I've never actually had a life coach per se. I've had mentors. I don't really know what a life coach, I mean, what they just coach you on how to get through life. I'd figure you probably just watch a bunch of YouTube videos and figure that out. Interpersonal stuff though, you really only get better at that by forcing yourself into situations and dealing with it. Like that's how I did it. Like I used to be a really socially awkward guy in my teens. I was very to myself. I was very like shy and nervous. And I eventually got to a point where I was just like, I put myself in situations where I just couldn't avoid it. Like lots of people around, people constantly engaging and talking to me. And that kind of pulled me out of my shell after a while. So I don't really know how you do that like in the current COVID world, but you know, you can do it online. I mean, just video and audio is actually a good analog stand-in for like being around real people. Nico, what's that?
Live content. It
Yeah.
helps.
Actually, that's a really good idea.
In my opinion, the experience that I had with live streaming really helped translate to, like, I thought the very first panel that I was going to do, like at I think it was at PAX, I thought I was going to be so nervous, like, oh my god, it's a fucking, you know, public speaking.
It's a rush though, isn't it? Getting them in front of people.
Dude, it's great. It's really great. There's like a lower barrier to entry for live broadcasting. There is an audience, but there's less of that like mental sort of like judgment, right? Because there's a barrier. And basically the panels that I've done were basically treated exactly the same as I do my live content. I had no issue. It was just, hey, I'm doing a live stream, but there's no camera. There's just a live audience. It's exactly the same. It super helped. I feel like I could do any sort of public speaking now, as long as it's like on something that I know. Like if I were, you know, trying to make something up, I'd probably,
you know, the good middle ground too is if you're in VR, there's a couple different apps in VR where you can actually give like TED Talks up on stage where there's VR people in the audience, and when they talk to you and interact with you, the sound actually comes from their location and their mouths move. They can move their arms and stuff.
God.
So it gives you a really good sense of depth and speaking.
I gotta order the Oculus. This is crazy.
Dude,
I gotta
what are you doing? Get it, man.
So if I get two, because I need to get two, that's my issue.
Yes,
because I can't. One, I'll never get the chance to use it. But if I got two of the 64 gigs, would that do us?
Yeah. If you honestly, I have not even filled up 64 gig on my 256 that I bought. You're only going to fill it up if you install like 20 plus games on the headset and you don't ever use it with a computer. But if you're playing games on the computer through the wireless, you don't need any additional storage.
Baz will get bored, but and want to change them a lot, but I won't. Look, I hate to do this, but apparently I'm going to go and have lunch, and then I'm driving to Hamilton.
You son of a bitch! You son of a bitch! Leave.
Can you hang out for 3 more minutes?
Like
3 more minutes. You got it. Absolutely.
Because I'll have to go at 1 as well. So.
Oh, do you? Oh, okay, great. 3 minutes.
Oh yeah, we're actually shutting down in 3 minutes. Dude, you could go the distance. Really? Yeah, I'm gonna go
the distance. Damn it! I will go the distance.
Do it. Go the distance, David. We just keep saying that for the next 3 minutes.
So, when are you streaming again next? What do you guys next? I mean, other than obviously Saturday, but
I might be doing something either Tuesday or Wednesday because.
Oh yeah. Because I think my week is a little bit. Ooh, what's that?
Ooh, it's fancy.
My Thor Zone Tech Mjolnir chassis, brand spanking new.
He's so pretty.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
Nice.
Is that the build on Tuesday? Or let me know because if I can, I'll pop in because I miss you guys, man. I haven't seen you guys for ages. What about you, Barney?
All right. Well, I'm going to be streaming again on Monday because I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. When I'm not with you guys, I'm over on Twitch and I stream from noon to whenever I feel like it. Usually it's about 3-4 hours. Sometimes I end up doing like 7, 8, 9. That's more rare, but just depends on how much of a rant you can get me on. So that's when I'll be streaming. As far as people still asking for video content, unknown. I have no idea when I'm coming back to YouTube for video content other than live streaming. I do mostly live streaming now. There is a lot of video content that I do want to do, though, that isn't live, that's edited content. It's just not in the cards right at this moment.
Mrs. B!
Yeah. Hi, honey. Mr. Hewlett says hello. Hi. Did you want to come say hi?
Yeah. I saw her hand for a mere moment, and then I just thought I would say hi.
It's a sexy hand, let me tell you. Come on over here. There's the camera. You see it? Say hello. Hi. That's the lady that tolerates me every day of my life.
Yes. we all need one.
Thank you, honey.
Doing good.
She's doing good. She that counts as proof of life, right? So you guys are going to stop
That's it. You should really be holding a newspaper, but yeah.
I'm not holding her hostage. Oh shit.
It's like, please help. She's behind you. She's behind you.
Help. Help. All right.
Well, Monday I have there's one thing I have to do. I'm actually going to talk to one of the creators of Stargate on. He's got like a podcast because everyone and their dog has a podcast now.
Is Stargate coming back? Is Stargate coming back? That's the question we get. Like,
well, I'll find out tomorrow. I'll find out tomorrow.
Oh my God.
I will find out tomorrow.
I could see Amazon dumping money into it.
Hey, I got an idea to pitch to him. Kill off the Dr. Rodney McKay character in the first
get rid
episode.
Of that. Sure. Yeah,
just
sure.
I mean, the most horrible fucking way too. Like in the first 30 seconds, just have him like trip and hit his head on the side of a table or something like that.
Yeah. Exploding tumor.
Yeah, and and then you'll have a much more successful series after that. So
well, no, you know what you do is you blow him up in the first episode, and then he's just on a screen. And then I can that's it. I can record every single one of my episodes in like an hour.
Oh,
that is the genius.
Man.
That is the genius approach. There you go.
Get paid or
I could be robot. I can't do that, Dave. There you go. Yeah, it's good to see you guys again. I'm glad you guys are both looking happy and fairly well.
Surviving. I'm surviving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know you've been having a rough time. Huh?
Oh, I'm having
a rough time.
Yeah. Massively rough time. I won't go into it right now, so you can go enjoy your Hamiltons. But yeah, life has not been the greatest lately. But I keep fighting. I keep doing it. Yeah. So anything, it can always be worse. That's the mind state you got to be in. It could always be worse.
Right.
Like I can
say,
my
friend says, just when the bottom drops out, you find there's a new bottom.
Exactly. There's always a new bottom. Like as long as you never hit the one at the itty bitty bottom, you're good. As long as you can wake up every day, fucking rock on. You're doing it right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you get out of here, brother Ox. I know you got to go and get going. I'm going to read through the rest of these very, very nice contributions to the show.
Yeah,
seriously, everybody gets some screen time, and we will see you guys again next week on Saturday,
yes,
same bat time, same bat place, and we'll try to get David in here for.
Indeed, I will do my utmost. I'm gonna maybe start planning a little earlier on that one.
Yeah, you know what you can do too is you can just phone it in, just like take out your phone no matter where you're at, like even at the airport, and be like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" and then just sign out.
Yeah, worked for Ox, drunk by the pool. That's true.
Exactly, drunk Ox in Mexico. Just do one of those; it'll be perfect. Just make an appearance.
Our biggest hit. All right,
all right, take it easy, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Cheers.
Peace out. You know where the button is, Ox? Can you find it?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
can you hang out for a few minutes? All right, cool. Cool. Let's get through there because these are the guys that keep us eating.
That's right.
So especially since all I do is live content anymore. So let's see. Scroll through here. Where did I end off? Okay, I think I ended off at Nico Lover. Thank you for the $5 support of the channel today and being the official sponsor of Tech Talk. He said, I started by selling socket bots to China groups, and now I'm my own InfoSec company. Can't start big, got to start small, build up your skills and learn. You know what's funny is like, I won't go into super details now because we're wrapping up. Maybe you'll talk about it next week, but it's like a lot of the shit that got me where I am is malicious. Like a lot of the stuff that I did that was completely malicious when I was like young and I was a teenager, everything taught me all the technologies and gave me what I needed to actually learn to be a more upstanding citizen in society later on. It's kind of funny how that works. I'm not recommending that to anybody right now because the laws were also a lot more lax back then against freaking hacking and computer crime because like nobody knew what to do with it. They're just figuring it out. So tread carefully. Let's see what's going on here. Acid Burns, thank you for the $5 sponsorship towards Tech Talk today. Said, hi, I just watching a recent Star Trek Voyager reunion and could not believe how much time has passed. Mm-hmm. It's still modern by today's standards. No, it's crazy. I feel so old because I go back and watch a lot of these shows that I feel like I just watched like not that long ago. And then I see the cast and crew like in other episodes and other projects stuff. I'm like, my God, are they really that old now? Like time flies. Whoa, what happened?
I feel like my monitor is so much louder and maybe
you must have pushed a button or something because you jumped like you just saw a ghost, sir.
Well, like I said, it was loud to me, so maybe you guys.
Oh shit! Sorry.
The same. No, it startled me.
All right, Dave 091102. Thank you for sponsoring. Thank you for the £5, dude. He said, "Hey folks, how's it going? Hope all is good. Got a pizza in the oven, so might not be around for a little bit, dude. I'd go bury my face in a pizza too. As a matter of fact, it's probably what I'm gonna do is go bury my face in pizza after this. Let's see, scroll on here. Oh, Dave also gave another £2 and he said, got my pizza cheesecake next.
Nice. That's awesome.
He's like giving us the blow by blow on everything he's eating. Miss Liz, thank you for being the greatest moderator ever, and thank you for the $5 Canadian ruse, and not just being a sponsor but being a member of the team. We appreciate that. Dave 091102 coming at us again with another £2. He said, had my second Oxford jab today. Feel fine here in the UK. Wow. So he's had a cheesecake, a pizza, and he got his jab. Nice. Cool. Leslie Monroe, thank you for the £5. She said, not a sponsor, just a thank you.
Aw,
Well,
thank
Leslie,
you.
unfortunately, today is sponsor day, so you are a sponsor whether you want to be or not. I'm sorry, but the rules are the rules. Johnny Winter, thank you the 50 Danish kronars. He said, sorry I missed so much of the show, but Dial the Gate Stargate Atlantis cast reunion teaser came first, and I got home late and just finished it now. Wait a second, cast reunion teaser? When does the actual thing come out? When does the cast reunion, like, real deal come out? I want to see that. And he also gave us another 100 Danish kroners and said, SG1 and SGA on torrent due to Denmark was 3 MD behind in release time, but I now own the DVD and hoping to replace them with Blu-ray versions at some point. AuxxZillary, Miss B, and David, keep up the good content. Okay, so he's kind of along the lines of like he pirated it, but then he actually went and bought it because he enjoyed it. Yeah. See, and that's the way to go. All right, guys. Well, you've been amazing today. Thank you for everything. We will see you again next week at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Saturday, Tech Talk. And you can find us all over on Twitch doing our live streams throughout the week. We all have our own solo projects that we do too. So if you're interested in those, all the links are in the video description. And if you want to get our attention when we're not streaming, come on over to Twitch. That's the most active social network for David, AuxxZillary, and myself.
Twitter, not Twitch.
What? Did I say twitching it? God damn it. My brain doesn't work. Twitter. That's Twitter. Go there. Twitter. Not Twitch. Twitter. Twitch is where we stream. Twitter's where we just post shit post all the time. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm going to end it right there before I say fucking Twitch one more time. All right. Peace out.